Puck drop is set for 4:30 p.m. You can listen to the game right here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne.
Ross Chastain will be first to finish in the Ally 500 at Nashville Super Speedway.
Nashville's exclusive home for NASCAR. 1025 and 1063.
Checkered flag is in the air.
Man, this is a win in the cup race.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It was pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We're live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. Titans fall to the Indianapolis Colts 23-16 in Indianapolis yesterday. And today is the Fans' Day. So we're taking your calls, your texts, your thoughts on the Titans' loss all show long, 615-737-1025. Willy, Derek, I want all of your thoughts on the game. But I want to start with where I think is the most depressing part of that loss. That really hurts me deep down that I just can't quite get past is the fact that Indianapolis beat you by playing your brand of football. That the Colts beat the Titans playing Titan ball. Running the football, being tough at the line of scrimmage, stopping the run, out-toughing one another. That's how the Titans want to win football games. And that's exactly how the Colts won yesterday. They stopped the run. They took the run away from Derrick Henry and Tajay Spears for the most part. They out-toughed you at the line of scrimmage, and they just ran the ball down your throats. You got out-tightened by the Colts yesterday. That's the hardest thing for me to swallow.
Yeah, I said the last thing we said on Friday when we were making our predictions is I liked the matchups up front. I really thought that they would be able to run the ball at the Colts and that they would stop the run of the Colts. And it was the opposite. It just didn't work out that way. And they still are right there and had a chance to win the game despite that. But it is, it's disappointing. And I think the other part of it in the big picture is, it's not like you went up there and laid an egg, but the Colts are better than we thought they would be. And the Titans just aren't that much better than the Colts, if at all, right? And that's a tough feeling when you're looking at the decisions they made, where they are as a franchise, where the Colts are probably going. But they even did it it's not like Richardson won the game for them, right? But by making some great
quarterback and the backup running back.
Yes. Well, the backup running back's pretty good.
Pretty good, yes.
Yeah.
And that's no disrespect to Zach Moss whatsoever because what he's done without Jonathan Taylor and what he did yesterday is very impressive. But Zach Moss is not Derrick Henry. And Zach Moss just had a Derrick Henry vintage kind of performance, and there was nothing that you could do to stop him.
Well, and maybe the point is it didn't even matter who the running back was, right? Just any running back. It was up front is where the Titans got beat. And let's credit the offensive line for the Colts because that was supposed to be what they were building the team around the last few years. And they kind of underachieved as a group. And they're playing well. They're playing very well. And still, you look at this play or that play, get a stop instead of Zach Moss running for a touchdown. And then the halfback pass from Derrick Henry, giving up a 3rd and 16. There was just little swing plays where it's that close of a game where you could be talking about winning the close game, but that's another thing that's kind of like a dagger. Every loss is tough in this league, no matter how long. But this is the type of game that they have been winning over the last few years, way more often than not. Tight games, comes down to the last couple possessions. You get the key stop at the key time. Mm-hmm. You make the key play at the key time, and you win in a close game. But that's another loss in one of those games, and it's hard to win like that in the NFL, but that's been the Titans' MO, and they couldn't do it against the Colts, a team that they've had the upper hand on the last few years and are supposed to have the upper hand on this year.
and so many frustrating aspects to this game. One, to me, I mean, the Colts beat you the way that you like to win games. The second thing is this Titans defense was supposed to be elite. This Titans defense, we said so many times throughout the offseason and throughout the season so far, that the defense can carry the offense. If the offense can be average, even below average, the defense can be good enough to carry you to possibly win the division. The offense yesterday, I thought looked pretty good. Run game got stuffed. That was the call. It looked like that was the Colts' number one priority, was stop the run, take the run away from them. But D-Hop had his best game in a Titans uniform. Ryan Tannehill was fitting passes into really tight windows. They were able to move the ball downfield, I thought, pretty well. The offense was not the problem. The offensive line, I thought, looked pretty good. So that's the kind of game that I thought, if you can piece together an offense that looks like that and the defense can get you some stops, this can be a dangerous team, especially in a very winnable division. But the defense couldn't get off their blocks. Christian Fulton, again, with 2 very costly DPIs that just handed the Colts 10 points on a silver platter. They couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback. Roger McCreary had your only sack on the day. Now, no disrespect to Roger McCreary, because he's looking like your most reliable corner. But you got Arden Key and Jeffrey Simmons and Danico Autry out there, and Roger McCreary's the only one getting any sort of pressure on the quarterback. It's disheartening to see that this team can't piece together all of its good pieces in a single game. That one game, the offense is horrible, the defense looks great, and the next game, vice versa. That's disheartening to me. Like, where's the identity of the team?
Yeah, I thought the offense, based on what we thought the offense was going to be, is showing signs of growth and progress. They're doing all right. Now, you'd love for them. They're so close if they just cash in on a couple of plays. I wrote some notes down we'll get to in the details, but if just as a general brush, if they punch it in once or twice, we're talking about a very good offensive performance overall.
Oh, yeah.
But, they don't get the key 4th and 1. That stopped a really good drive, and several other drives that they worked very hard, methodically driving down the field, ending field goals and not touchdowns. And so that's tough. So you're hoping that's enough with a great defense. But I thought that was probably the most disheartening thing about the game is a Colts offense that looks pretty pedestrian. I thought they pretty much ran their game plan really well, and the Titans didn't do a whole lot to disrupt it, right? There were a lot of plays where, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, they dial up a nice little matchup. You know exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to either work on Fulton. They got a little, they used downs really well. They had the tight ends against the matchup they liked. They ran the drag route, and the pass rush wasn't there to really disrupt the timing. And then the defensive backs we knew were going to be sort of the question mark, and they were exploited yesterday. Thought that was really the game. And the fact that when they needed to run it, they ran it.
Exploited, and Christian Fulton continues to be more of a liability.
Well, he's the guy they went
asset.
after, right? I think they see that he's been struggling, and they tested him, and it worked.
And why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go after Christian Fulton? If I'm any defensive coordinator on the Titans schedule, I'm going to say go right for 26. Because either you're going to cook him or he's going to draw a PI. And either way, you're probably going to be set up pretty much for success.
I agree. And that's, I know, going to be probably a big topic at Mike Vrabel's press conference today is what to do about it. We go back to the same thing we were talking about 2 weeks ago. Who else really do they have? So I think they probably they probably were banking on yesterday. He's moving in the right direction. He had a pretty good game. The whole team had a good game against the Bengals. Let's see where it goes. And then he regressed, right? That's sort of what happened. And it's not all on him, right? I think a better pass rush would have helped him in a lot of cases. Let's take the 3rd and 16, right, where that's a big play. That it's, 7-3 at the time, and you've got the Colts in 3rd and 16. You can't let them get that. But it was a 4-man rush. None of the 4 guys get there. Easy pocket, and Richardson makes his best throw of the day. That long diagonal down the sideline. If it's a good pass rush there, he probably doesn't have time to make that throw. But he put it in a perfect spot. Fulton made the little bite on the replay that they showed. He had help up front along the sticks, and he kind of still took a little wiggle in there, and that was all the That was all that they needed to drop that pass in there, and the pass had to be perfect. But that's sort of the microcosm of the day yesterday, I thought.
And I think the third thing for me, the third most disheartening thing for me, the first was you got beat at your own style. The second was the defense that was supposed to be this team's greatest strength got beat up at the line of scrimmage. That the Colts' run game was better than any pressure that you could get on it. That they couldn't get any pressure on the quarterback. And I think the third thing that was really disheartening to me was that on Friday I said that this is a game that the Titans should have won. And I stand by that. I still think that the Titans should have won that game because I looked at it like this Colts defense is not very good. D-Mase said all last week, this defense is soft. It's a soft defense. It's a defense that Derrick Henry, significantly more times than not, has been able to run all over. And I thought, okay, with the addition of Tajay Spears, now that you got a 1-2 punch in the run game, now that you got a certified pass-catching running back, I mean, they should be able to cook. They should be able to run all over that Colts defense. And I looked at it like you got a rookie quarterback that can be prone to rookie mistakes. Now, of course, Anthony Richardson went down earlier in the game, and Gardner Minshew came in, and maybe that's even worse, that you got beat by the backup quarterback. And look, Gardner Minshew's a good backup, but he's still a backup. So that's the hard thing is this was a game that the Titans should have won, that they had the quarterback advantage, they had the defensive advantage, at least on paper. And it was a game that they should have won because if you can't beat the Colts, who can you beat? This is a divisional game, and you are set back so much further now that you are 0-1 in the division. And if you can't beat the Colts, then that makes beating the Texans feel that much more difficult because the Texans seem like that much bigger of a threat than we anticipated. That maybe this team, if you can't beat the Colts, maybe this team is just not as good or cannot accomplish as much as we thought they could.
Well, we don't know how good this team truly is. Because they're so inconsistent. Even in their wins, it wasn't like they looked extremely overpowering to their opponent. They won the Chargers game in OT, and we can say the Chargers basically lost that game for themselves. And then, you look at their other win, and it was, you were facing a statue that couldn't move in the pocket, and he was just basically a sitting duck. So I don't know how good this team is or how bad they are, but I know one thing, that they are inconsistent. They've played good football, in stretches of, certain games, but overall, this team doesn't seem like they are, one of the better teams in the National Football League. They seem like a team that is holding on to prior, seasons. They're holding on. And when I mean prior seasons, I mean they're holding on to in hopes that we can break through with this group of guys that we have. And hell, we saw, again, history tends to, repeat itself or come damn near close because, I can recall, in 2004 where you're trying to hold on to a team that, frankly, you got some good players, but you need to retool it. You need not try to hold on to, whatever's going on. You need to find a way to make it better with those individuals that you're trying to hold on to. And just like 04, it was 03. 04, I think we had a better season. But 03, we didn't. And it seems like that's the same thing that's happening here. And I think last year gave a false sense of reality to this team and to this fan base that, man, if we wouldn't have had all those injuries, man, if we were one play and one game, away from making it to the playoffs. That's because your damn division is so bad. That's why you're one game or one play of winning a divisional, to winning your division for the third straight time. That's why. It had nothing to do with how good you were or how many injuries you had. Your division was bad, like bad. And the one team that, was leading the pack was a Jacksonville Jaguar team that was young. And they still find a way. They still found a way to beat you the last game of the season. And I get it. You didn't have your quarterback. But these are problems, or these are things that have been sort of building up for 2 years now. And now we're just seeing, a sort of a combination of it all with the inconsistent team. This team doesn't have enough playmakers. The guys that I thought were going to be playmakers, they are non-existent. This team, this is not an explosive team. It's not. They got a few explosive players and guys that have potential to be explosive, but they are not an explosive team. When you can't get any more explosion from, the running back consistently. Now, Derek, he gives you it from, time to time, but he doesn't give you that explosiveness consistently. The offensive line doesn't block consistently. You don't get explosive plays from the receivers consistently. I like Chris Moore. I like Nick Westbrook-Ikini. They didn't target Chris Moore not one time yesterday. That's malpractice. You got to find a way to get your big play guy a touch in the game, and you didn't for whatever reason. So to me, this team lacks a consistent playmaker on it. Do they have guys that I believe can make plays, young guys? Yeah, but they haven't done it. The one guy that has two guys that have consistently been your big play guy, for whatever reason, you didn't target them. You didn't go at him. You went at Nick Westbrook-Ikini and you underthrew a ball. Matter of fact, you shouldn't even thrown that ball to Nick Westbrook-Ikini. It should have been intercepted. That play right there is either you throw it high and outside to where nobody can get it, where only the receiver can get it.
Throw in the end zone.
Yeah, or you don't throw it at all.
That nearly picked.
They baited you into throwing that pass, and you forced it. So to me, this team is going to continue to struggle if they're guys that they know can make plays for them. Chigga Conquo, Traylon Burks when you come back. If those guys are not making big plays for them, it's going to be hard for them to move the ball down the field because his offensive line isn't good enough to consistently block for Derrick Henry, for him to get those runs. And Derrick Henry isn't the same back. He's a good back, but he isn't the same back that he was. I know he had over 100 yards last game, but these are going to be few and far between. He's not the same back. Will he get over 1,000 yards? I think he will. We got 29 games. He better get over 1,000 yards. But this offense is missing a few things. And maybe they have it in-house, and it's just not materializing the way they thought it would. Hell, it's not materializing the way I thought it would. Guys that I spoke highly of, they're no-shows. How can you do that? It's frustrating to watch a team that their coach, you believe their coach really well, and then go out and play. And everybody has, I get it, everybody has bad games. But hell, your bad game was against Cleveland, against a stout defense. And then you faced Indianapolis with a depleted defense, and they still.
And a backup quarterback.
You know what? When Richardson went down, even though I thought Richardson was playing well,
yeah,
but they still, even with Richardson, they were only going to do a certain amount of things. Mm-hmm. They weren't going to put him in a situation where, it would sort of shake his confidence. They were going to methodically try to move the ball down the field, do, little passes here, and then try to get a big one down the field. The minute he got hurt, which is awful for them, but the minute he got hurt, I'm sure Shane Steichen said, you know what, let's open up this playbook. Mm-hmm. Let's open it up a little bit more.
We trust Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, we trust. He's been in the system that I'm running for 2 years. So we're going to open it up a little bit more. And I don't know if the Titans were prepared for that. I mean, I could say why would you be prepared for that? Because you're expecting Richardson to play all game. But you were not able to adjust to what they were doing when Richardson went out the game. Last week, what did we talk about? Guys playing their keys, being disciplined, being responsible. Well, in the running game, they were not. And then in the passing game, they were not. So this team, if they're not stopping the run, they're not winning. Point blank.
I want to get back to what you said about Chris Moore. Because I said all last week, look, Chris Moore and Nick Westbrook-Akine and DeAndre Hopkins, they have been nothing but reliable for you in the passing game. Chris Moore has been, kind of carved out his role as the long ball, big explosive play kind of guy. Nick Westbrook-Akine can do some of the dirty work, kind of the unsexy catches here and there. So I'm with you that I said, give Chris Moore opportunities. Put him out there. At least give Ryan Tannehill a deep shot threat. But as it pertained to yesterday, DeAndre Hopkins was playing so well. And the Tannehill to D-Hop connection, I thought looked so strong yesterday that I didn't watch the game thinking, where is Chris Moore? Or, Chris Moore should get more involved in the game, or Nick Westbrook-Akine should get involved in the game. Even though I think those are two really good players and trustworthy pass catchers, I thought just keep feeding the ball to DeAndre because he keeps making plays and tough catches.
Well, I thought as a whole, I kept thinking as I was watching the game, and then I went back and watched it more this morning and then look at the stats. I kept hearing Mike Vrabel in the key to the game. You remember we played with Mike Keith on the TV show, the keys to the game. We're 55% when we're 3rd and 6 or less, or whatever it was he said. I saw the offense almost doing it that way. Like on the surface, 23 for 34, 264, that looks pretty good. But the passer rating is only 78.6. Now, that drops a little bit with sort of the desperation interception at the end of the game.
I had no problem with that.
You kind of don't count that.
Yeah,
but even if you take that away, it's a lot of dink and dunk. Mm-hmm. And you had a team out there with rookie corners where, especially after about the first quarter, you knew you had a good matchup with Hopkins. Somewhere in there should have been more ability to attack down the field. It became apparent as the game was going on. They had matchups down there. But the game plan was a lot of, let's make sure we get to 3rd and 3. And it worked to a degree, right? They kept the ball. They had long drives, but it was bend but don't break. The Colts successfully bent but didn't break. At the end of the day, they had 16 points. So somewhere in there, you got to sprinkle in a few more attack plays. That's maybe, D-Mase, where you can get a Chris Moore in there or somebody, because there were opportunities. I think there were good matchups down there.
When this team, look at their losses. Well, 2 of their 3 losses. When this team can't find another target to throw to, they're going to lose. You know why? Because teams are going to say, listen, if they want to target D-Hop 11, 12 times, let them do that. Mm-hmm. Let them do that. D-Hop is not going to beat us. He may move the chains for them, but he's not going to beat us. What is going to beat us is those secondary guys. So even that last play, I don't mind Tannehill throwing. You got to do something. But if Tannehill looks at that play, they got 3 guys on Hop. Mm-hmm. 3. Chris Moore, I believe it was, from the inside was running a deep corner route, high deep corner route. I don't even think he looked over there. I think the whole time he was looking to the left side of the field. When you do that too many times, defenses figure it out. And they know that, okay, if you want to keep on, we'll give you this, and D-Hop may catch a long one here and there, but that is not going to beat us. Arizona was the same thing. They let them catch all those passes. Did it do anything for Arizona? No. Did it win them games? No. And that's no knock on D-Hop. Mm-hmm. That's not. It's just when Titans win, they find multiple players in the passing game.
Spread the ball around.
Exactly. When they key on one guy, they will never win a game. They won't, unless Derrick Henry is going off in the running back position.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. I want to get back into our thoughts about the offense. But coming up next, I think the biggest name that came out after that game was Christian Fulton. We'll get into him coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025, 1063 The Game.
Green right, Fox 2 run, double catch.
He takes you inside the huddle through the eyes of a quarterback.
Wide 85, take.
Catch ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck every Tuesday at noon as he breaks down the big stories in the NFL.
Buffalo, maybe Miami.
And with the Tennessee Titans.
The Titans might be like, we're interested in a 1-year, $1 million contract.
Tim Hasselbeck is on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Let's talk Loan Pronto for a moment. If you're looking to buy a new home in the next month or two, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm stressed out because how do I do it? Does my current house have to sell before I buy the new house? How does this work? Well, all you need is Loan Pronto's Dream Home Bridge Loan. The Dream Home Bridge Loan helps tap your equity so you get the cash you need to make the clean offer, the down payment you need, with the cash to cover that. And with this amazing program, you can get that cash just in a matter of days. So you can get this process moving fast and go after the house you're looking for. Very little paperwork, usually no appraisal is needed. And then when your current house sells, the bridge loan completely disappears. So call now and get the details from Loan Pronto. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. Ask them about the Dream Home Bridge Loan. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Have you seen the selection of luxury pre-owned Rolex watches they now have at Genesis Diamonds? If not, prepare to be amazed.
If people really know the watch world, they come in and they're in shock. They're like, I cannot believe you have this selection here. They're able to see them, touch them, feel them.
Meet Genesis watch expert Charlie Rivers, who says over the past few years, Genesis buyers have scoured the world to build a collection of luxury pre-owned Rolexes, including all the hard-to-find models.
Daytonas, Pandas, Sky Dwellers, a huge selection of Submariners, Hulks, Kermits, anything that you could ever possibly want. We have every luxury pre-owned Rolex that we have here. We ensure that it's in pristine condition.
So come in today and find the timepiece of your dreams at Genesis. Or if you already own a Rolex and are looking to trade for a different model or even sell it, Genesis can help you get top dollar.
If you have a Rolex, definitely bring it in. I would love to see it and do a complimentary evaluation on it and see what we can do for you.
Genesis Diamonds, now with one of the largest selections of luxury pre-owned Rolexes in America. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through October 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Visit Coleman Tractor, your local Kubota dealer in Clarksville, Nashville, Paris, and White House today.
Vanderbilt Commodore fans, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, along with 94.9 The Fan, is your new home for broadcast of games and the Commodore Hour on Monday evenings. Catch all the action for football, men's and women's basketball, and baseball all season long. Go Doors!
Exergen thermometers are the smart choice when selecting a thermometer. With children back at school, keeping them healthy is important. Got a fever? Stay home. To detect fever accurately at home, you need a clinically accurate, fast, and non-invasive thermometer. The Exergen thermometer is backed by over 100 clinical studies. Accuracy matters. Be smart and safe. Measure accurately with Exergen thermometers. Available at Walgreens and other participating retailers. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Get the one and done you want for your dog's monthly protection. New NexGard Plus, a Foxalon moxidectin and pyrantel chewable tablets. Protects against fleas, ticks, heartworm disease, roundworms, and hookworms. All in one delicious beef-flavored soft chew. Use with caution in dogs with a history of seizures or neurologic disorders. Dogs should be tested for existing heartworm infection prior to starting a preventive. Ask your vet about new NexGard Plus chews.
Lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Georgia from First Bank Stadium. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Coverage starts at 9:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Laura Rutledge from the SEC Network, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
No, it's never about one player, but was there any thought to potentially pulling Christian Fulton?
Yeah, there was thought. I thought wanted Christian to challenge and do his job, and the double move is one thing. They double moved him, and I coached them even at halftime. I said if they double move you, try to make sure that you're square and that you're that's how we can play it. And the referee thought he slid over, late, but we just got to make sure that we keep our eyes on our man and not in the backfield. Man coverage. We're not going to intercept the football in man coverage. Our job in man coverage is to not let our guy catch the ball. And if the ball gets tipped, then the post safety is going to probably intercept it. But we can't go, looking for interceptions in man coverage. It just, your eyes will be in the backfield too much.
So that is not the first time that Mike Vrabel has called out Christian Fulton personally. Not the first time this season, not the first time in Christian Fulton's career as a Tennessee Titan. And there's Mike Vrabel calling out Christian Fulton saying, yeah, we did think about pulling him. Now, to be fair, Mike Vrabel does not get credit for thinking about pulling Christian Fulton. You only get credit for pulling him. But I still think that's enough to say that Mike Vrabel's really fed up with Christian Fulton, and I do not blame him, because I looked at 2 Christian Fulton DPIs yesterday that handed the Colts 10 points.
Yeah, it did, and that's just, this has always been a question mark for me, this defensive secondary, because I never thought, at least in the last 2 years, they didn't match what the defensive line was doing. And there was going to be some problems. If the defensive line didn't dominate, then that back end would be exposed. And
it can't afford to be exposed.
And the 3 losses, they've been exposed. If the defensive front doesn't do or doesn't have a lights-out game, then the back end, doesn't hold up their end of the bargain. They did it last week. Mm-hmm. The Titans were able to run the football. They were able to stop the run. Again, we can say, Cincinnati wasn't, at full strength. Their offense is struggling because the quarterback can't move, and he's not allowed to he can't get up underneath center, so that takes away a lot of what they want to do. It probably was right, but if this defensive front isn't playing lights out, then the back end is a liability. They are. In particular, Christian Fulton. He's not a good defensive back. He's okay at best, but I kind of feared this. He's in a contract year. He's been hurt for the last 2 seasons. He takes too many chances. And I think I said this last week.
You said he guesses too much.
Yeah, he guesses, and he's not good enough to do that.
The 3rd and 16 reminded me of that.
Exactly.
He guessed, and I think I heard Mike Vrabel refer. I think he was referring to that play. He kind of peeks in.
Exactly.
And he's got help, and he thinks, well, Richardson's going to throw for the sticks.
Mm-hmm. And he
took
goes
a step in
exactly.
and down slips behind him, and guy throws Richardson threw a beautiful pass. But that was guessing wrong.
That was him being out of position, trying to freelance and play your own type of defense. He's not good enough to do that. He's not Diggs. He's not some of these other – he's not Sauce Gardner where, okay, I can gamble, but I got enough, athletic ability and speed. I can recover. He can't recover. He can damn near cover when he's not peeking in. No, seriously. I'm serious about
because
this.
When he is, he's prone to the DPI.
He's prone to DPIs. Yeah. He doesn't know how – he hasn't consistently figured out how to play with his feet instead of trying to grab and hold. Now he's going to get this label of being, a grabber in this game. And
I think he's already
is.
And anything that is close, they're going to call it, no matter what, because you're not playing your technique, as Vrabel said. You're not playing, you're not playing in your responsibility. You're trying to play in somebody else's responsibility, and damn it, you're not good enough to do that.
Okay, so let's get to the question: is if they bench him, what are the alternatives? Because I think that's the tough part. It's almost like Dillard. Dillard struggled really bad against the Browns. It's like, well, right now, we got to keep rolling him out there, and he's been a little better since then. Not great, but they're trying to deal with it. I saw Spears and people over there helping him a lot the last couple of weeks, get a little extra chip, and that's what you do, right? If you got a weakness, you try to cover the weakness.
Right.
But what do they do if they pull Fulton? What are the other options?
Trey Avery, Kendall Vildor, whoever it is. Because I heard Joe and Robbie talking about that this morning, and Joe would say whenever somebody said bench Fulton, well, who do you want? Because Fulton's your best defensive back, or your best corner, rather. But at what point is Fulton no longer your best corner because
I think
all
this
he does
is the discussion
is draw
internally that has to
penalties?
happen, right?
Like Trey Avery can get penalties and get cooked, and he can do it for significantly less money than Christian Fulton probably wants in a second contract. So that's what I look at it.
Well,
like
the next contract is probably
it's not happening in this franchise.
But so the question is, how are you trying to save the season? How are you trying to make it better next week and see if it's better? Do you just start this week with the preparation?
I have no reason to believe it's going to be better. Because it's been, it was a problem against the Browns. It's a problem now. He can't stay healthy. I hate that because I think that Christian Fulton is a good player, a talented player. And I wanted him to prove himself in this contract year and prove that I am valuable and I can stay healthy. But it's the injuries and it's the constant penalties. A 22-yard PI that the Colts were able to score off of. And then on 3rd and 12, you get another PI call, and I thought in the fourth quarter, I thought that ended the game.
That was a killer.
Right there. I mean, you gave the Colts all the momentum. You allowed them to continue to eat up the clock. That was a total killer there. And he's a liability. And I don't care who's coming in behind him. I don't care who you bench him for. But you can't keep hurting the football team and continue to get opportunities, even when you hurt the team.
What about psychologically, too, D-Mase? I feel like that's got to be a corner. Like, you know, as a wide receiver, when you kind of you're in the corner's head, you can't cover me. You can't cover me. You're either going to grab me or I'm going to beat you. Like, I feel like he's got a little self-doubt that's seeping in there.
Well, I mean, whether he has it or not, I don't think it makes anything different, because even without the self-doubt, which I'm sure he probably is questioning it a little bit.
It's a contract year.
But even before that, I just don't think he's a good enough. I don't think he's a starting defensive back. Let's put it that way. He's not a starting defensive back, or at least he hasn't shown that he's a starting defensive back in this league. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I blame Vrabel. This is a Vrabel fault. This is a Vrabel's doing. What did Vrabel do at the end of last season? He got rid of all of those habitual injury guys, basically, didn't he? But he left Fulton. But the one guy that has been habitually hurt, you said, okay, I'm good with him. But then you get sort of upset because he's not there. Well, this is the bad you made. Y'all didn't. Here's the problem.
See, I thought it was as simple as he was good enough to be a starter.
He's not good enough,
and only the injuries were keeping him. But now it looks like, I don't know that the hamstring's bothering him here. It looks like there's other things, some other factors besides that he's slowed by him.
He tries too hard to be the hero. Just do your job.
But he can't. He's not good enough to be the hero.
You're saying he just isn't that good to begin with.
He's not a starter in this league. He's not.
You're saying he never has been.
And he's never never has been. He's never been a starter in this league. He has benefited from that defensive front. When they're playing good, it makes your job a little bit easier. But even with that, he still would get exposed. Vrabel basically called him an habitual injury guy, but still kept him as your starter. You didn't do anything other than going to get Bunting.
Bunting.
Yeah, Bunting, not Button.
Benjamin
Bunting.
Button.
You went out and got Bunting, and that wasn't an upgrade. I don't know. I think Bunting's a good player, but again, is he a starter in this league, like a consistent starter? So
he was the sort of budget guy that was out there that didn't cost you too much.
This is probably
I think they're getting what they hoped they would get.
This is what we're running into. That's why I say Fulton is not his problem anymore. It's not. All of this falls on the lap of Mike Vrabel.
You're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen, and Vrabel's allowing this to happen.
You knew what type of player he was. He's had flashes here and there, but other players have had flashes, and you've got rid of them.
And here's, just to add insult to injury, after Christian Fulton has a day that he gets 2 horrendous PI calls for the second game of the season, he has the audacity to say this after the game in the locker room.
He pushed me over. Thought I would score, so it's part of the game. Thought of me personally, bad call. So in life is a DB, and that's what it is. what is starting to go wrong? Because typically you're a very technically sound corner, but some things aren't happening. What's going into that?
I feel like I was very sound today. I mean, besides one play, with the one with 11, where he caught the out or whatever, it was on me, I guess, bad eyes. But for the most part, I think today was, technically sound. Obviously, they made some plays or whatever, but I mean, it's hard when you got to play against, the refs and the DBs. I mean, as the receivers. But life as a DB, I'm gonna keep stepping every time. So I'll be back next week.
Look, I give him credit. I give him credit for not giving the Bull Durham cliches to a good. I think that's the mark of a good reporter in Tehran, that he's comfortable enough. He kind of vented to Tehran and gave his thoughts. We may not agree with what he's experiencing there, and to a certain degree, I'm going to defend him. Like, a defensive back you have to say, I'm good. Like, I'm going to make the next play, because that's a tough job. I said to myself a bunch of times, when you're on that island, I would much rather be the receiver than the defensive back. It can't be that fun to do it. But I know I saw your body language as we heard that clip. It's tough. Like, you'd like to hear him say, look, I have to do better. I have to do better. He's got to work that into the answer somewhere. I love the fact that he's, just barfing all his emotions. He's emotional, right? He's ticked off that they lost. He knows the spotlight's on him there. But somewhere in there, you got to say, you know what? I got to be better.
To blame the refs.
I mean, you can sit here and blame the refs all day, every day if you want to. Receivers can say he held me. Defensive backs can say you pushed off. Whatever the case may be. But what I do know is that on those two particular plays, especially after your coach has already told you, watch out for the double move. Watch out for the double move. It's coming. Watch out for the double move. Even if you give up a 11-yard catch, at least you say, I'm not going for this double move. I'm not. I'm playing my position the way it's supposed to be played. I'm staying within my responsibilities. My coach told me not to go for the double moves. I take it up with him when I go back to the sideline. Coach, you told me not to go for the double moves, so I played off. He got the 11 yards. Okay, we'll reassess it, and then we determine whether we want you to jump this. But if you jump it, we're going to make sure you got help over the top. You can't, again, you're not good enough. I'm not saying he's not good enough to play in this league. He's not good enough to be a starter. And this is the problem when you don't have depth at that position. Guys that are not supposed to be starters in this league, they end up being starters because you're holding on to this hope that they finally get it. It's been 3 years, 4, I think. This is the 4th year that he hasn't got it. And everyone in the building should have known this. They should have had a contingency plan. They should have drafted a secondary guy, and they haven't. They have not drafted a secondary guy that has worked out for them. That's why it's like now if Fulton gives up 3 or 4 more touchdowns, it's not his fault.
He's gonna.
It's not his fault unless they bench him.
You have to blame Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, you blame the head coach. Why? Because you knew, one, that he was a guy that can go down at any minute. 2, he wasn't great when he was playing. He was okay, but he wasn't great. So why then will you not go get a true contingency plan for that position? Somebody that can come in and play his position and then let somebody else slide in somewhere else. I believe Roger McCreary can play that position.
Yeah.
Over there. Put him out there.
He's been fine.
Let him do it.
Yeah.
Put him and the other guy, Bunting out there. Put him and Bunting out there. See what they can do. Because right now, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
In that scenario? Because he's not giving you much.
At this point, like when I was watching the game, I kept thinking, I understand that Trey Avery is not a starting corner in this league, but at some point he's going to be better for your team because he might not hurt the team quite like Christian Fulton was yesterday. Also, Christian Fulton's dad needs to get off Twitter. Did you see?
I don't need. Listen, I think sometimes you just got to be honest when you're assessing your own play, or when someone else is looking from the outside in, even if you know the person. Like, you're not playing well.
Yeah.
Flat out. No matter if you go to another team, it doesn't matter. You're not playing well. And if you get benched, that's because of you and no one else. How can you blame someone else for something that you're out there doing or not doing, but then you blame the refs?
Yeah. Right to your phones on this coming up next. Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase is brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
He knows the ins and outs of the Titans and isn't afraid to give his opinion.
Traylon Burks needs a massive offseason.
He's Jonathan Hutton of Outkick.
I don't see how they make a move without going to Ryan Tannehill.
Catch him every Monday at 10:30 on Chase McCabe and every Wednesday at noon on Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase. Hutton is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Week 5 of the football season is almost over, people. We got a Monday night game tonight. So if you're going to bet, then you might as well do it with Zen Sports. Because, listen, there's no better time now to make the switch to Zen Sports, people. It's the fastest growing sports book in Tennessee, revolutionizing the way you bet on sports with their cash reward program. When you sign up for Zen Sports with code D-Mason, that's D-M-A-S-O-N, you will earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. Think about that for a second. 5% cash back on your total play with no limits to how much you can earn as a cash rebate on your bets. So, what are you waiting for? Stop wasting your time and your money betting on other sports books to earn credit or points, when you could, frankly, be earning real cash rewards with Zen Sports. Download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Your wallet and or purse will thank you later. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet here in Tennessee.
The holidays are a time of celebration and Thanksgiving. It's a time to host friends and family in your home to enjoy good food and good times. The last thing you need is an unexpected issue. If you're planning a gathering this season, take a few minutes to bring out the home experts from Lee Company. For heating, plumbing, electrical, and all your home improvement needs, Lee Company has you covered. Visit LeeCompany.com today and schedule your first appointment online. Lee Company, all you need.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. If you have some things around your home that you've been putting off fixing, like your regular HVAC maintenance or a clogged bathroom drain, Hiller has some big discounts this month. When the temperature drops and you start using your heater for the first time, you do not want to be dealing with breakdown issues, and this month, Hiller is offering half off HVAC tune-up. And Hiller is bringing back their $99 drain cleaning special. These deals only last this month, so be sure to call today. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds of Falls and Vandy. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
Hey, are you seeking relief? Maybe you just want to enhance your day or night. Did you know there are legal THC products available right here in Tennessee? Yeah, really. You can have legal THC products shipped directly to the comfort of your home. Yes, comfort in cannabis is only a website away. Visit greentreescompany.com. That's Green Trees with a Z, and change your life today.
This year, Boys and Girls Club of Middle Tennessee celebrates its 120th anniversary. Through time, BGCMT continues to evolve to enable all young people, especially those who need us most, to reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible leaders. Because of your continued support, BGCMT has remained strong and is committed to supporting our youth and solidifying our mission and culture in new exciting ways for 120 years. Visit bgcmt.org today.
When it comes to shopping for home and auto insurance, the companies that usually come to mind can only offer one coverage option. So, if you want to compare prices, you're forced to visit multiple websites just to get one quote at a time. But not with Zander Insurance. Zander is a broker that works for you, shopping dozens of top-rated companies to find you the best rates this year and every year so your price stays competitive, keeping your life simple and hassle-free. Compare rates all in one place at Zander.com, or for a more personal touch, call 800-356-1780.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Having some fun in the midday.
Okay, that's really fun.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
It's a good source of energy because it's live.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Stay tuned into 93.3 Classic Hits tomorrow for MTSU football. The Blue Raiders will kick off at 6 p.m. at home against Louisiana Tech. Pre-game beginning at 4:30 p.m. Coverage also available on the 93.3 Classic app and at 93.3classichits.com. It is the Fans' Day. It is a Titans reaction Monday following a loss 23-16 at Indianapolis. So unless we have some thoughts?
Let's go to the phone.
I think we should just let the fans vent.
This is a fans venting day.
Yeah, maybe people's parents will call, or
people's parents have been awfully active on the airwaves and in social spaces.
You never know who will call.
Christian Fulton's dad could be listening.
The president of the NWI fan club called.
Yeah. Yeah. What was her name again?
Sally.
Sally.
Oh. Sally.
Yeah.
Oh.
She
Amy?
probably
Did you
will
say
call.
Amy?
I think second
Sally?
middle name was Amy or something.
I don't know. I think I forget, man. You know, it was last week.
Sally Strunk or something.
He only had one catch, so she's probably going to call back and say, "Get my guy the ball more."
Exactly, which she would be right. Let's go to the phone.
Well, I will give you one guess as to where the passion lies and with who the passion lies, and that is with Christian Fulton. Brian in Gallatin texts in, says, "Is there a possibility that we cut or trade Fulton for a rental? I don't know what we're looking at cap-wise, and I also don't remember what year it was, but kind of like the year that we traded for Desmond King. He was a rental for us and played that role semi-well. I think it's just a waste to keep Fulton on the field. He either gets exposed or gets hurt." Now, I would agree with the sentiment of get someone in here that can help you. Christian Fulton right now has zero trade value.
Yes.
I don't know what you would get in return for Christian Fulton. I think we can all say definitively today, Christian Fulton is not getting a second contract with the Tennessee Titans. But right now, I don't really see the point in trading him away.
Would you go as high as like a third-round pick, possibly?
No,
fourth?
No. 7th if you're lucky.
Really?
Yeah, you're not
getting
much.
Not right now with his stock down.
You might not get a third-round pick or a fourth-round pick for Tampa.
I think if I'm a GM, I'm watching to say, all right, could I have a reclamation project if they were to release him, or if he hits the free agent market, could I find that to be one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? I'll get him for I'll buy low, and we'll develop him. He'll fit better in our system. I think that's what we're looking at here. Now, to say that he can't bounce back and have a better year, like he's at a low point right now. I've seen guys turn it around. It doesn't look good right now, and I think that's why the critical thing. And like you said, D-Mase, a number of times, after this week is when you really assess. You've got a bye week. So if you're going to make some changes, you've got extra time to execute those changes after Sunday. And so I think this is a critical game for them and for the season, because if they get a bounce back win, we'll feel much better about where the season could go. And right now it's such a pendulum, right? The last 3 weeks have been a pendulum. Everybody's down and like what's going on? This team's no good. Last week, hey, maybe they're still pretty good. And now it's like, it's like you can't have three more big swings like of a pendulum than we've seen the last 3 games.
Right.
No, you can't.
And maybe Fulton can swing back the other way and be better. Or you got to try something else before the season gets away.
Tomorrow. I don't know.
I don't know what they can do. It's not like the one person they probably could have gotten. And I know they probably weren't even thinking about that.
You can't trade draft picks.
Yeah,
you cannot trade draft picks at this point. Not for this team. No way.
Well,
so a rental, no way. That's not happening. Not on my end.
No, teams are not trading. I mean, you had the Chargers trade J.C. Jackson last week, late last week. But I don't know if the Titans would want to take over J.C. Jackson's contract, or if they would have wanted to. And then I forgot what the New England had to give up to get J.C. Jackson. But you're going to need some help over there. And I don't know where it's going to come from. I really don't, because the depth on this team is not good, especially, at certain positions. And it seems like the defensive back position is one of those positions.
Thomas in Hendersonville texts in, says, can we please stop analyzing this team like it's still 2019? That year was an anomaly. This team is by and large not a good team, and we need to stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. Both sides of the ball look terrible. If you compare this team to one of the good teams in the NFL, it's night and day difference. Those teams have dogs. We have a bunch of soft players who are joking and cutting up on the sideline instead of focused on the game. Yesterday, watching the 49ers, Brock Purdy threw a touchdown, went immediately over to the sideline, started studying his tablet. When they did a cut over showing the sidelines of the Titans while they were losing, there were guys joking and laughing on the sidelines. Just a complete embarrassment.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to, and that's the caller's perspective, and I get it. You're frustrated with your team, and then you watch other teams later on that day, and you see sort of their demeanor and how they approach it. And I'm not saying the Titans don't approach it that way. I'm sure Ryan Tannehill, regardless if he throws a touchdown or an interception, he goes back on the sideline and he's looking at that tablet to see, why that play worked, why another play in that drive didn't work. Did they block it well? Do I need to throw a better ball in certain situations? So I'm sure he's going back and doing that. Now, the cut up on the sideline, I mean, you got to understand, they're only showing bits and pieces. They're not showing the whole sideline. I'm sure there probably were guys kidding around on San Francisco sideline. And I'm sure there was people on the Titans sideline that were peeved, that were upset, but they didn't show it, so.
But also, to that texture's point, 2019 was an anomaly. Well, in 2021, you're the top seed in the AFC. 2020, your offense was better than it was in 2019. So I don't know why we're talking about one individual Titans team being an anomaly, where this team, by and large, has been competitive since then. 2022, you were the most injured team in the league. You were one game away from winning the division. I'm not making I'm not making excuses for the team, but really, I mean, let's not act like this team has had one good year and then has been absolutely horrendous since then.
Well, this team,
it's highs and lows.
Yeah, but this team has been teetering. They've been teetering. Even, the year they got the number one seed, that's still a team that won close games. Willy brought up this statistic and, about them winning close games. Eventually, it was going to come to a head. And they were not going to win those close games. And it happened last year, and injuries were involved in it too. But it just seems like this team as a whole, and I could be wrong on this, but it hasn't gotten better. It's gotten worse. Y'all need to tell me if I'm seeing it wrong or whatnot, and we can discuss it on the other side along with our other callers.
We'll get with Mike Vrabel coming up next. He will address the media at the podium. We'll carry that live and in its entirety, but we are right back into your phones after Mike Vrabel. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When you own a business, it's like another member of your family. And success takes time. It requires money, attention, and tools to help it grow. At F&M Bank, we'll treat your business like family, building trust and responding quickly when you need us. No matter your business goals, you can reach them easier when you have a banking relationship that supports you, tools to conveniently manage your money coming in and going out, and expertise to make your business better. Bank your business at F&M Bank. myfmbank.com. Banking made easy on purpose. Member FDIC.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is delivered by Black Tie Moving. This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. Over the weekend, the Nashville Predators closed out their preseason with a 4-1 loss to the Carolina Hurricanes. Yakov Trinan was the lone goal scorer in the game for the Predators.
Yeah, definitely. It's a step in the right direction. Lots of good things. We try different lines and play with different people. We already play better in a D zone, understand structure better. So it was a good test for us. Tune in tomorrow as the Nashville Predators open up their season on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Puck drop is set for 4:30 p.m. You can listen to the game right here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Game Center update delivered by Black Tie Moving. Use the promo code GAME to score 10% off your next move.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit theGameNashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 1025 and 1063.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board. Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personality of all time.
On 1025 and 1063 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, Mike Vrabel just walked up to the podium, is addressing the media, so we will send it over to him now.
We believe in and that we know that we have to do, which is, play better defense, create some turnovers, create shorter fields for our offense, and when we get down in the red zone, making sure that that we're turning those opportunities into touchdowns, and we're able to do those things yesterday.
How frustrating is that? I mean, red zone area has been something that this offense has been fairly good at in recent seasons.
Yeah, well, whatever we've done in the past or did last week or 2 weeks ago, that doesn't have a whole lot of bearing on future opportunities. So what we'll have to do is improve there and understand maybe where things went wrong. We missed a play to Hop that we felt good about and just missed them. Like that happens. 1st and 20 is tough, and that got us off schedule, and then we didn't convert there at the end.
Are you taking enough shots at Hop in the red zone?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think the coverage dictates that, and we'll continue to look at that and see if those things can help us. But we certainly want to get him involved and need him at all parts of the field.
Some of your suspicions, I guess, about what went wrong in run defense confirmed by watching tape.
Yeah, I mean, they blocked us. They blocked us, and we got out of gaps, and when you play peekaboo. That those things happen.
When they are blocking you like that, what have you got to do from a defensive standpoint, I guess from a player standpoint, to keep that from happening?
Keep them from blocking you? Yeah, put your hands in their chest and, leverage your gap. When the ball runs through your gap, shed and tackle and swarm to the football. So all the things that we've tried to do around here for a while. Sometimes, and again, they broke one, and, KB was down there playing the quarterback, on the run, and, wasn't it, he's been able to, and that's not on KB, that's just telling you where he was. Like, he was over there in case the quarterback pulled it, and, he's been really good for us when he's in the middle of the field, that when that ball breaks like that we can, he most usually likely gets him on the ground. He was over there playing the quarterback zone read game like we had told him to.
5 weeks in, how are you feeling about how Chig has developed in year 2 so far?
I think he's just inconsistent, and some of that's our ability to try to find ways to get him the ball, within what we're trying to do. But, some of that's on Chig as well. So I love his effort. I love some of the things that he's doing. But I think there's some details and some things that he can, be better at as well.
You and Christian yesterday were both kind of talking about squaring up in the past game. Just for our clarity, what do you guys look for when it comes to squaring up?
Well, no, we're just talking about playing square, not letting these guys run, whether that's within 5 yards or within 10 yards. I'm going to say the same thing to Amani Hooker. You have leverage on every pass coverage, man or zone, and leverage may mean inside eye, outside eye, but not turning and letting them run. And if you're square and they run into you, you probably get the benefit of the doubt. Not if you slide in front of them or catch them with your arm. And so I think that's just the focal point. And that's not trying to let anybody off the hook. It's just trying to talk to the league and the officials and the things that they look for. And, when you are able to play square and move your feet, sometimes you get the benefit of the doubt.
Some of the things that are happening, like maybe eyes in the backfield, sitting on the sticks, are those things that are easily correctable?
I don't know. We'll see. They better be correctable quickly. Would hope that we wouldn't be having these conversations about putting our eyes in the backfield and grabbing guys down the field and when we're in phase. I think those are just things that we have to be able to understand. You're in phase. There's no reason to grab a guy. And
when you have a guy like that has ability, but you're not getting the results, like how do you go about managing him and getting to coach to those results?
Well, I think at some point in time, this is professional sports, and we're going to coach them, coach every single one of them, Christian included. But we also have a job to do, and we have to go out and do it. And 1 week doesn't mean anything, and one game doesn't mean, it's unfortunate. But then we have to keep moving on, and we have to improve and figure out, is it that we're trying to make some plays? And if you're in match coverage, really, the whole goal is that we don't let our man catch the ball. Not that we're trying to make interceptions in match coverage, because then you start looking for the football, you start looking in the backfield, and then they uncover or they make another move. So there's opportunities when we can try to get an interception, and in man coverage, that's not one of them.
What's your comfort level with the young guys that are behind him, though? You feel comfortable if you got to throw them out there that they can play well?
Yeah, that's why everybody's here. And that's something that could happen, and we'll see where things go here at the rest of the day in our meetings, and as we work towards Baltimore.
Example of maybe a guy trying to be a little too eager to try to make a turnover. You talk so much about it. Is it just not happening, or are there other things that defensively you're not doing to put you in the right position to make it happen?
Well, you could tip a ball at the line of scrimmage. How many we don't tip any passes that then get intercepted. Talk about tip balls getting intercepted, so we don't tip any at the line of scrimmage. We don't hammer any footballs out. The ball was never in jeopardy yesterday. Quarterbacks are usually the number one target, and when you hit the quarterback 2 times, it's hard to think that you're going to get the football out when you can only hit them twice.
Was yesterday a step forward in pass protection for you?
Yeah, I think so. I thought the pass game was efficient. Would have liked to been better in the red zone when we threw it, but we hit some chunks, we hit some play passes. I thought there were some good things there. Certainly there were some good pockets, and quarterback got hit a couple times, but I felt like we had time to work our way through and progress through the route, and gave him some time to get the ball downfield. Yeah, I think a little rusty, but maybe a little conditioning, but I think excited about getting him back in there and having him another week, and it was a good step for him to get back out there and, be able to play through the entire game.
Nicholas, one of the guys that was inactive, just the feeling on him going into the week, he just needs more time to get his technique and conditioning, everything back.
Yeah, Nick's been out a while, so Nick will have to earn a spot back onto the offensive line and what we're trying to do. So he had a little bit of practice last week, and he'll get more this week.
His agents tweeted that he's joining the practice squad. He's a veteran guy. What does he bring to the defensive line?
I don't even know if he signed the papers or not. So until I get confirmation of that, I'm sure his agent, you can check with him on Twitter, but I'll let you know soon. I don't want to say something, misspeak, when I in the process of me coming up here.
How's Tyjae Spears progressed as an offensive weapon this year?
Good. We got to continue to find ways to get him the ball. My favorite contributions that he makes, I know that he's going to do good things with the football, but even on the pass to Wesco there on short yardage, he's sprinting down there to block somebody that's trying to hit, Trayvon, and he tries to protect the guy with the ball. Didn't really mention it, I don't think, during the week in Cincinnati, but the 15-yard penalty that everybody was questioning was Tyjae coming over and blocking a guy and squaring him up in the hole and then driving him as the pass went, and the guy ripped Tyjae's helmet off, and that's what they ended up calling it. So I think there was some questions on, was it on the quarterback, was it on Nick? It was actually Tyjae's willingness to go in there and block the guy and finish as long as he could that the guy got frustrated and ripped his helmet off. So those are the things that, again, we talked about in Minnesota when he came in and blocked in the pressure and the mug look. And so those are all really, really positive things outside of what he does with the football in his hand, which, speaks for itself.
With DeAndre Hopkins, that drive coming out of the halftime, it kind of took over that drive. How do you like the way he's just kind of getting settled in as one of the major guys in the offense?
Well, he has to be, and he knows that, and the connection that he has with the quarterback and his ability to find seams in the defense, and whether it's to settle down or uncover, run through his zone. Ryan gave him a good ball, or his ability to adjust to a pass, his body control. So, I know up until yesterday he obviously would have wanted more production, but I've mentioned before, every time we've needed a play on third down, he's been there, or a play at the end of the Chargers game, made a huge play. So yesterday it was great to see him, have some, production.
You talked a lot about explosive plays that you give up defensively, but offensively, you've had a bunch of 15, 16 play drives. Do you need a few more explosives to make you not have to drive 80 yards in 17 plays?
I mean, unless you score from the 50-yard line, you're going to have to be good in the red zone. So, we'll take as many as we can get. I think we're trying to get them. Maybe we could have thrown to Chris. I think Ryan could have probably let one go to Chris Moore there around maybe it was the 35 or something going in. But other than that, I don't know where we would have, gotten any more of them.
What kind of factors went into
maybe break a couple runs, but that was few and far between.
What kind of factors went into your decision to practice here for most of the week rather than go over to London for the entire time?
Our experience, I think, the last time that we went over is get a lot of work in here, have everything that we need here at the facility, work ahead, make Tuesday a Wednesday, Wednesday a Thursday, Friday, so on and so forth. Get over there, get adjusted, have a Friday practice, clean up a lot of the stuff that we did, and then have our normal preparation for the game. I've talked to a lot of people that have done it both ways, and that's how we did it the last time. Felt like we were ready to go, and just didn't end the way that we wanted to.
Were there any things From that last time you were there that you said, okay, you know what? Next time we're going to do differently, and you're doing differently this time?
We're going to get the 2-point conversion. That's what we're going to do.
But as far as like operation-wise.
Oh, okay. I felt like it was good. I felt like the hospitality was good. We provided buses and security and things for the players so that they could go into the city and see what they wanted to see. That worked out well. Guys left, went down there early, got back early, got sleep. We do a little light workout, stretch, and take a walk and do some stuff before our Friday meetings. Other than that, I don't know what, we'll have all our staff over there, our training staff and medical staff for the players. No, we're not. We're at a different place. No Duke Castle.
Is there anything you have to tell the players preparation-wise to keep their bodies right for all the travel, or is that something that you kind of expect?
No, we do. We're trying to, you can dial back a little bit on the sleep and make sure that we're hydrated and limited on the caffeine and all those things that are going to be critical when we go and travel. So hopefully we can, start to try to, get a little bit of extra sleep or, make sure that we're going to bed a little bit earlier.
I'm not sure if you saw some of the Bills players, they, had complained about the playing surface. They said it was a root for some of their injuries. Have you guys done research and looked into that surface?
We have. We've spoken to both teams and both equipment managers, and however the field is, I'm sure it's safe and sure it's rated. That's their opinion. I haven't played on it. I won't play on it, but we'll have to be prepared for whatever the surface is.
After a frustrating game that nobody's happy with, is there a level of accountability you want to see from your players after a game, and what does that accountability look like to you? When you see guys, how they interact, how they talk, how they reflect on their own performance?
Yeah, I think it's accountability is critical. Accountability and discipline. Not making excuses, showing up. We know it's a long season, and game is humbling. Sometimes, you put a lot into it. Sometimes you lose, unfortunately. But come back to work, get back to work, and prepare and to go play a good football team, a disciplined, physical football team that's really good in the red zone on both sides of the ball. They run it, they stop the run. So we know what we're getting ready for. A lot of respect for them, and we just have to come to work and start preparing. As much as it's disappointing, like we got to move on, and I try to give myself till 9 o'clock to quit pouting, and it's time to go to work.
You didn't put Traylon on IR. Does he have a shot this week?
We'll see. I know he's working hard, and we'll see how he does. And tomorrow and Wednesday, and we'll see how he does. But hopeful that he can try to get out and start running around.
Do you think he's got a shot this week?
I hope so. But it's early in the week. I don't know.
You got 12 games left, obviously, but this is one before the bye week. Is there any special message to the guys about getting this one or kind of getting back to 500 before you go?
I hope we try to get every one we play. That's the message, is let's try to win every one we play. It's a week-to-week league, and focus on this week and everything that we can do, and then figure out where we go after that.
That's good.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Speak now or forever hold.
All right, there you go. That was Titans head coach Mike Vrabel up at the podium, and we missed it, but awfully colorful language at the beginning of the press conference of how Mike Vrabel feels today. And it starts with an S, ends with a TTY, and I think we all kind of feel the same way about this team. Takeaways from what Mike Vrabel had to say.
Glad we didn't get that on the air.
Yeah, I'm glad, yeah.
We would have tested Nick's ability to get to the dump ball.
Hey, I've used it quite some this year so far.
Oh, man.
Quick with
Yeah.
it.
He's frustrated. You can tell by, some of the things that he talked about. The inconsistencies of certain players. not being disciplined. I think, he talked about getting out of gaps, and they were getting blocks, not being able to get off blocks. And these are all the things that we talked about earlier in the week, that with a team like Indianapolis, because they have sort of this three-headed monster from a running standpoint, you got to be disciplined in what you're doing. You got to play your gaps. You can't try to do somebody else's job. Just do your job. Trust the person next to you that they will do their job as well. And obviously that didn't happen. Vrabel brought up, hey, listen, gap integrity. We need to have gap integrity. We need to be consistent. We need to play with our feet, stuff like that. And if you don't have that with the team that, isn't one of the better teams from a personnel standpoint, then you're not giving yourself a chance to win.
That's the thing. This is where where the frustration is coming from, okay? Year in and year out. And he is partially responsible because he is helping pick the groceries, to use the Bill Parcells term.
He's shopping.
He's shopping for groceries too. But all summer long, every power ranking that came out throughout the preseason, the training camp, you pick any one randomly, Titans are in the 20s, right? 23, 26. We sit there and nitpick. Are they better than this team? Are they not as good as this team? Could they be 18? But, once you get on to like 18, it's about the highest you could possibly say where their weaponry is, right? There's just flat out talent. This is not a talented team. Those things that are not always dead right, but they're not wrong when you say the Titans are not a loaded team. I don't blame somebody from afar. It's not just that they play in a small market. Is that you look down person for person, the Jimmies and the Joes, they're limited. They're not great. And so they've got to be great in all of the little things on the margins to win. That's a tough job week in and week out. And in this league, you can't always be perfect. So I think we have to remember the reality of this situation here. They're not a loaded team. This is not a team that is equipped like Patrick Mahomes, or a team that's blessed with a great quarterback or some other great weapons that they can make up for more of the mental mistakes, or getting into the wrong gap, or overcoming a bad call, or missing on a play where you should have a touchdown. You know what I mean? Like, this team does not have margin for error.
But I don't think the Colts are an overly talented team either.
No, but that's why I think he feels bleepy.
Yeah,
right? Because he knows they've got to, for them to be successful where they are, they've got to beat the Colts, and they didn't.
Like, if you would have told me, take away the final score, if you would have told me that Ryan Tannehill had completed 23 of 34 attempts, 264 yards, and that DeAndre Hopkins had 140 receiving yards, I would say that's got to be enough to win.
I don't know. I did look at Derrick Henry's numbers.
I would
33 yards.
How many yards did they rush for?
And that's the thing is, through the air, how long have we all been asking and banging on the table for just some sort of second dimension offensively? And the passing game has evolved. And Mike Vrabel was asked about it. Yeah, the offensive line looked better in pass pro.
I mean, they got a lot of completions. They moved the change. There's not a lot of explosiveness. There's still limitations, right? That's the thing. Forget about who won, who lost.
Plays.
Were the Titans way more talented than the Colts yesterday?
No.
And that is the problem.
But watching
because the Colts are the Colts. They're better than we thought, but they're not.
Colts game.
The Colts are not. They're very good.
I thought that the Titans would end up being the better team. This offense, we may say this offense has evolved, but really,
the passing game has looked better.
It's looked
a little better.
A little better, but it's not equaling 2 points. They averaged 17.5 points per game last year. Guess how many points they're averaging this year? 17.6 points a game.
Well, yeah.
So
when you're 1 for 4 in the red zone,
Okay, but that's offense.
And it doesn't matter what you are between the 20s,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what I'm saying is if you would have told me that DeAndre Hopkins had 140 receiving yards, I probably thought, okay, that's got to be enough to win, right? Well, you can't get into the end zone when you're in the red zone, and you can't run the football, and you can't stop Zach Moss to save your life. Well, then, yeah, that's DeAndre Hopkins' best performance in a Titans uniform that just goes completely wasted. Right into your phones on this coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. We are brought to you by Zen Sports. Start earning cash rewards on your bets today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and in Tennessee to bet.
He breaks down every game.
The players are still going to be fine.
And knows the ins and outs of the two-tone blue.
They deal with their own position coaches.
He is ESPN NFL Nation Titans reporter Teron Davenport.
It's clear what he's doing.
TD joins every Monday at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast.
I think that's really cool how he could show both sides.
TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Lee Company is the trusted expert for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, and general maintenance for facilities throughout Kentucky and Tennessee. Our technology and expertise guides facility owners and managers to smart decisions. When you need a reliable partner to keep your facility profitable and running 24/7, we hope you'll think of us. Visit LeeCompany.com to learn more. That's LeeCompany.com. Lee Company, all you need.
It's time to celebrate this fall and unleash the beast. Monster Brewing proudly presents to you Beast Unleashed. 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, all the adult beverage fun. The Beast is unleashed with great taste, bold familiar flavors, and 6% alcohol. Go wild with Mean Green, White Haze, Peach Perfect, and Scary Berries. Don't fear the Beast. Enjoy Beast Unleashed at your next tailgate or football party. Drink responsibly. Must be 21 and over.
Blue Raider fans, your home for all the MTSU football and men's basketball action is on 93.3 Classic Hits and 95.1 Classic Hits in the borough. Catch the action all season long with Chip Walters on the call. Go Blue Raiders!
Hey, it's John Tesh. We've all felt the impact of inflation on everything from food to housing to gas. But most people don't realize the cost of your home and auto insurance is also likely to go up. With the rising cost of building materials, car parts, and labor, even the insurance companies are taking a hit, which means you will too. So if you're working with a company that only has one option and not a company that shops multiple carriers to find the best deal, you're wasting your money. It's why you should be working with Zander Insurance. They represent over 24 top insurance companies that are competing for your business, meaning you get the right home and auto coverage at the lowest prices this year and every year. And Zander's service can't be beat, I know from experience. Just check out their reviews. Saving money has to be a priority these days. Go to Zander.com or call 800-356-4282 and find out how much you can save. You'll see why over 500,000 families trust Zander.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Georgia from First Bank Stadium. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Coverage starts at 9:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, Trey Wingo here. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase say this week's Nashville's best deal is half off a $50 gift card for Big Play Hendersonville. They offer everything from bowling to laser tag, indoor go-karts, bumper cars, an arcade, fantastic food, and so much more. Right now, you can get half off a $50 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and check out all that they offer. We've got some thoughts in our text line on the Titans' 23-16 loss at Indianapolis. Our phone line's driven by Wilson County, Hyundai.com. Eric is on the line with a thought on the Titans' loss. What's up, Eric?
Pleasure to talk to you. Guys, let me say this, and I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. Guys, I did not have a problem with them going for it on fourth down, guys, but I also heard the comments, and I agree. I thought they were a little bit too cute with that play, what they did with Derrick Henry and everything. It's just frustrating to see them not get it, and then the Colts take 7 minutes off the clock, basically, end of the game, get that field goal with about a minute to go in the game. That was just so frustrating to see. And just the defense not being able to get off the field, especially on that drive a lot of times during the game, whether it was Zach Moss running the ball on third down, the pass for Gardner Minshew, and you got to give him credit for doing what he did, 11-14, 155 yards on third down. and then the penalties by Fulton, which was just so aggravating. But the one main thing I want to talk about, guys, is this. And this was, of course, where it looked like the Titans were going to get momentum. But right before the half, they hold the Colts out of the end zone, go in. Then they come right out, drive the ball down the field, get the touchdown. They go up 13-10. It looks like the Titans grab the momentum of the game. Then the Colts come right back down, get a touchdown, and part of it was a holding call or pass interference or whatever you want to call it. And I guess there was comments, in the booth that was doing the game for the Titans saying that they thought that it potentially was an uncatchable ball. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. You can't do that. I also heard remarks saying that this was an officiating crew that was known for calling holding and pass interference calls. And this is what I want to ask Derek Mason and you, Willie, and Caroline can chime in on this. When you have a situation like that, don't you, as a player, they said you should be sure and make aware that you're knowing about the PR, pass interference calls from certain referees. And did you think, Derek, and you guys can weigh in this too, that was or was not an uncatchable ball? I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. Guys, it's always good to talk to you. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Eric, appreciate you. Thank you for your call.
Thank you, Eric. Well, I'm sure Vrabel mentioned to the whole team at the beginning of the week. This is what coaches do. When you come in Wednesday, you get your game plan. There's a portion of it that identifies each ref by name, so you can get to know them and talk to them before the game and let them know what you see, what you haven't seen, how they're calling. But then he also says, hey, listen, this group right here, this crew, they're known for calling holding calls. They are one of the highest, when you're talking about holding calls, they're one of the highest crews in the NFL at calling holding. So play with your feet. Be aware that if you grab, they are going to call it on both sides. It's not just they're going to call it on us, they're going to call it on them.
So teams definitely address that.
Yeah,
during
the
game
teams,
plan.
every week they addressed it with the team in front of everybody. So they knew about this going into the game. But, realistically, when you in the game, you're not thinking about it. So Vrabel, I'm sure, did. I am 100% sure he made them aware of this crew being one of the crews that will call holding on you. As far as the ball being catchable or not, we will never know because he got held.
And they rarely call that anymore.
Exactly.
Uncatchable.
So
they're not going to.
If it's in the field of play,
not call that.
if it's in the field of play, they're calling a pass interference. And anything that's in the field of play, unless it's 30 yards down the field and you're trying to catch like a 10-yard pass, then okay. But if it's down the field, if you grab or impede the receiver, some crews will call that. They won't call it was uncatchable because everything that's in the field, they feel with these guys in their speed, they feel it's catchable.
Now, let me ask you this rules-wise. And if it's holding, the hold is prior to the pass.
Yeah, the hold is
so
prior
the
to the pass.
uncatchable is
Yeah.
irrelevant at that
Exactly.
point, right?
Yeah.
If it's pass interference, they can call uncatchable.
Yeah, they can determine then. And a lot of times they don't like doing that. They just call flat out pass interference.
I think there used to be a time that they were
Yes.
looking closer at that. And I do think where that ball landed, I'm not sure anybody could catch that ball. I'm not sure Harold Carmichael, who's the tallest receiver that I can remember growing up, would have caught that ball.
But you
The
bail
ball
them out.
landed on the white.
Yeah.
Like it
But
landed
when you-
way over to the near the bench side of the white marker there.
But when you grab them, that's
It is what it is.
It is
Yeah.
what it
Doesn't matter where
is.
the
Well,
ball
the
is.
hold, it doesn't
Exactly.
really matter, right? Because it's
Yeah.
prior to the pass.
Exactly.
So another thing that Eric brought up that I want to get into is the Titans' decision to go forward on 4th and 1. Now, Eric said he didn't have a problem with it. I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't have a
I agree.
problem with them going forward on
Right
4th
move.
and 1. It was the right move. And, it's the same kind of conundrum that we went back to the Saints game. The Titans were, down 4? They decided to kick it. And I thought, again, that was the right move because your offense wasn't able to get anything moving. You were struggling in the red zone. Your defense was playing well. So kick it, get 3, and then get your defense get a stop, and then hopefully you can move down the field to kick another 3 and then get for the win. But in this instance, don't kick it and then hope that you can get the ball back when your defense has been playing poorly. Go ahead, just go for it. Go for it, get in the end zone, get the lead, because at that point it was 20-16. So yeah, you would take the lead. And then you would feel comfortable, hope that the defense can at least get you a stop after you get to the end zone. So I had no problem with 4th and 1. But the play call, both at 3rd and 6, leading up to the 4th and 1, and the call at 4th and 1. So 3rd and 6 at the Indianapolis 10. Ryan Tannehill, short pass to Tajay Spears, and that's when he gets blown up by DeForest Buckner.
Perfect hit.
It was a perfect hit, and I heard it on the broadcast, and it was one of those hits when you hear it, you're like, oh, man. And he walked off a little gingerly, maybe shaken up a little bit. I did not agree, and I want to get your thoughts too. I did not agree with the play call at 3rd and 6. I thought DeAndre Hopkins all game long has been making some of those intermediate, tricky catches. And in that drive, he had a 25-yard catch in that drive. He was moving the ball well. Tannehill and DeAndre Hopkins had a special connection in that game yesterday that I thought if you can get DeAndre Hopkins past the sticks, if you can hit him there, that's much more comfortable than hitting Tajay Spears short of the sticks when they haven't been able to let you run all game long.
It's an interesting setup that you had there because there's a lot to analyze.
Yeah.
Those plays you said leading up to it, I went back and I wanted to make sure I watched what led up to the 4th and 1 as well. But because it fell in line with kind of how they were approaching the entire day. And that was, let's do what we have to do to get to 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, and not 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9. And so I thought the 3rd down play. Now I had seen there was one of the key plays in the game was Spears caught a ball short of the chains, made the guy miss, and turned it into a big first down, and they got 3 points out of it.
Yeah.
Out of kind of a broken play that should have gone nowhere. That's I think why you're throwing to Spears there. I like his chances of shaking a guy, but he ran into an absolute brick wall.
Yeah, right.
And that was, he couldn't get turned upfield to make that move. So that was tough. The 4th down is what I really was interested in hearing your thoughts on, D-Mase, because they get to the line of scrimmage with plenty of time. Suddenly, the crowd's going crazy. You're on the road. Tannehill looks like he's changing the play, right? He runs up under center. He gives the center a signal, backs up. 2 guys go in motion. The Colts react as if it should have been a legal procedure. So there's kind of some unrest. There's some confusion. They reset, but it never really looks like they're really gung-ho set to run the play. And then when they run the play, 2 things essentially happen. Walker, one of their better players, comes in unblocked, and DeForest Buckner is one-on-one with Hubbard and just eats him up. And so essentially Derrick Henry has no chance on that play. So they checked into a play that results in that. So I don't know. The decision's fine, but I saw uneasiness at the line. If I could do it over again, which you can't, it just seems like maybe they're better off calling a timeout there and resetting because they just didn't look set. They looked a little confused.
Yeah, well, I mean, for starters, the previous play to Spears, I mean, it was the only play he could make at that particular time because he was the open guy. They took away everything else. What y'all got to understand is, as the field condenses, it takes away a bit of what D-Hop can do.
Yeah.
Because now I can rely on that, 12th man, which is the back end zone. So out in the field, it's a little bit easier, especially against this secondary. It's a little bit easier. But as the field condenses, it gets harder for you to get those guys open. So whether he throws it to D-Hop, which would have probably ended up being a 5-yard reception, just like Spears was, you're setting it. This is you're already in your mind thinking 2 downs. That's what you're thinking.
Right.
That's why Ryan Tannehill throws that play. Remember 3 games ago, the question was asked of Ryan Tannehill, did they relay to you that this wasn't a 3 down, well, this wasn't a 4 down situation?
Right.
He said, no, I mean, he thought he was going to have another down, but they end up, kicking a field goal or kicking it away. And we were like, well, why did he throw it short? Did he think they were going to go for it on 4th down? Well, this situation, he knew that they were going to go for it on 4th down. So you take what they give you, make it 4th and 1.
2 plays to go 6.
Exactly. I got 2 plays to go 6. I should be able to get it. So I don't fault him for throwing it to Spears. The play just wasn't blocked right. The second play wasn't blocked right. One, the end on the right side, which would have been a Titans left, he comes, Swarovski blocks down, and I think that's what he was supposed to do. The end comes off, and so he's trailing. Then DeForest Buckner gets penetration, and now it's those
That's being
two.
kind.
Yeah,
He just
he blew it up.
Blew up.
He was in the
Yeah.
backfield basically, but Derrick Henry still had a sliver of an opportunity to get the first down. Well, Franklin, who's the best tackler in the National Football League, he exploded through the hole.
Yeah.
Nick Westbrook-Akine wasn't going to get him. He was already in the box. So that's on someone else to come up and get him. And whoever job it was, they did not get the most important person, the best tackler on their team.
I didn't see anybody really going after him to block him.
He's the best tackler on their team. And that's the one guy you let just run through the hole. But then you got to give credit to him too. They pay them on the other side as well. He read the play, he sniffed it out, and he exploded through the hole. Not only did you have DeForest Buckner coming from the backside, you had Franklin. Essentially, their two best defensive players end up making the play.
And everybody in the stadium, everybody watching on TV knew exactly what the play call was going to be.
But we
On
can't
fourth and one-
fault them. We can't fault them because had we thrown it, then what we would have said.
Why didn't
y'all
you give it to
to
Derrick?
Henry?
It's 4th and 1. Just give it to Derrick.
I don't fault him at all in the slightest. I don't know what else you would do. Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you hand it to Derrick Henry? You need 1 yard. Who else would you give it to? Give it to Derrick Henry.
But did you see the indecision? They checked. They checked into the play, right? And there's Chris Moore's in motion. He stops. He looks back, and they have to reset. I just thought at that point, if I'm Mike Vrabel, I'm thinking about maybe just calling the timeout there. It just seemed like they weren't decisive with the play call once they checked, and that's what it looked like when they ran it. They didn't block it up right. Who was supposed to block Franklin there? I didn't see anybody even going after him. So Nick Westbrook-Akine, I saw he runs right at the safety to block him, and he looked pretty sure of himself, but he's not supposed to come over and try to help on Franklin there?
When he's already established himself in the box, then that's a guy the offensive line has to account for him because now he's established himself in the box.
And he was just sitting back waiting.
Yeah,
for
just
Derrick
waiting.
Henry.
But then
And
it's
all
like,
day he was a nightmare. He hurt Henry. He contained Henry very well.
But then even on that, it's like everybody, a man on a man, there's going to be, and coaches will tell you, there will be one free
unblocked
guy.
guy.
That's your guy. Derrick Henry, that's your guy. You got to beat him because they know what we're doing. We're going to have it all blocked up. You got to be able to beat him. And Franklin just beat Derrick Henry in that situation.
With help from Buckner, right?
Yeah, with help from Buckner
that's the
coming
thing.
from the backside. But there's a lot of times what people don't realize is that there's going to be an unblocked guy. That unblocked guy is usually the responsibility of the running back. You got to make a miss.
Yeah.
That's your job. Sometimes you
Or
do.
run him over
Yeah, run him
for
over
1
just
yard.
to get that 1 yard. And we all know that more than likely in a situation like that, Derrick is going to lean forward to get the 1 yard. Not in this situation.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the play call. It's just the execution. That there was just no one there that could have stopped.
Now, I could really
what
dive
the
into
Colts
the
wanted to
weeds
do.
and say Buckner on Hubbard. Buckner's a dominant player. Like Buckner, you could say won the game on those two tackles, right? He stopped Spears short of the line,
the first down,
and then he makes the great play
Derrick
by
Henry.
blowing up the play,
Yeah.
taking Hubbard out and allowing him to. He slows Henry down enough to where, 44 comes in there and just blows him up. It's absolutely no chance. You can't put that on Derrick at all.
No.
He didn't have a chance to sort of take on the linebacker one-on-one and say, I'm just going to push you back. I'm going to
He had
overpower
too
you
much
for
head
1
of
yard.
steam coming
Absolutely.
forward. Yeah, he had too much.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get back into your phones coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. We will chat with TD, Teron Davenport, in 20 minutes. 102.5-106.3 The Game.
Whether it's college football,
Players might end up not going to Alabama or Georgia.
or the NFL,
I think that this team wins the AFC South.
Trevor knows. Join ESPN's Trevor Maddich every Tuesday at 4:30 on Stillman and Company as he gives his opinions on the latest from the gridiron.
I'm going to the team where I can get a ring.
Trevor Maddich brought to you by Houston Clinic Orthopedics, where experience matters, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Happy Monday, everyone. Man, listen up. I need to talk to you about something. And that something is Cool Springs MD. Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and his wife Daphne, along with that experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life. Cool Springs MD services have already helped many men of Brentwood, Nashville, and the surrounding areas in Tennessee with improving their immune systems, energy levels, cognitive functions, and more. They are there to connect you with the medical care you're required to have a healthy and enriched life. So there's no better time now to achieve a healthy lifestyle. Men, what are you waiting for? Give Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment. Here's the number, 615-486-3458. That's 615-486-3458. Or visit our website at coolspringsmd.com.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willy Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. Are you looking for a luxury home on over an acre, 7 bedrooms, 9 bathrooms, and close to 7,000 square feet? 6551 Brownlee Drive in Nashville's Westmead neighborhood offers that and a 4th car garage, all by an award-winning builder. Text the number 1 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home listing to be seen and heard by home buyers? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty, office number 615-432-2919.
Come try Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria. Their pizza is cooked to perfection, but that's not all they're known for. Try one of their delicious appetizers, salads, fresh calzones, and they have a full bar and dessert. Calabria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years now and has a new location in the heart of Goodlettsville off Long Hollow Pike. Come join the family at Calabria. After all, life's too short to eat bad pizza. Introducing Gen Y Hitch, the ultimate towing solution for the modern adventurer. Whether you're hauling a boat, RV, or heavy cargo, Gen Y Hitch is your dependable companion. With its innovative design and cutting-edge technology, it delivers unrivaled stability and safety on the road. Crafted with precision engineering and built to last, Gen Y Hitch ensures a smooth and secure towing experience. Say goodbye to the hassle of traditional hitches and embrace the future of towing. You can find our full range of products and accessories at GenYHitch.com. Upgrade to Gen Y Hitch and tow with confidence. Your journey starts here.
They're homegrown in Nashville, discussing the biggest topics in the SEC.
The fans are going to want the rivalries to stick around. They've lost to Alabama every year.
The NFL.
What if all the top 3 quarterbacks went 1, 2, 3? You've got to draft your guy at 2.
And anything in between.
From thinking we know everything to then forgetting about everything we thought we knew the day before.
They're Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow on Outkick's Hot Mic.
Out of the gates, ready to go.
Weekdays from 2 to 5 on 94.9 The Fan and The Fan app. Having some fun in the midday.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Are you taking enough shots at Hot in the red zone?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I think the coverage dictates that, and you know, we'll continue to look at that and see if you know, those things can help us. But we certainly want to get him involved and need him at all parts of the field.
That was Mike Vrabel on using DeAndre Hopkins in the red zone. We were breaking down that final red zone trip for the Titans, that 3rd and 6 short pass to Tajay Spears when he got blown up by DeForest Buckner. They decided to go for it on 4th and 1. I think we all agreed with the decision to go for it on 4th and 1, and then Derrick Henry gets stuffed before he can even get close to the sticks. Now, I said, look, it's easy for me to look back in retrospect and say, well, that didn't work. He should have done something differently. But I do look at it like, look, DeAndre Hopkins has been your most reliable, hottest player offensively all game long. It's been tough to get the run game going all day long. Go ahead and feed the guy who's been your most reliable target all game long. But again, retrospect is 2020. Hindsight's 2020. But let's get into some of your thoughts on this. 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. D-Mase, Will's coming for you.
Come on, Will. You know it.
Says, I hope D-Mase doesn't make any backhanded negative slights against D-Hop for the entirety of the show today after D-Hop's unstoppable performance yesterday. Imagine the game yesterday if we didn't pick him up in the offseason. The chemistry between D-Hop and Tannehill looks very strong.
You want me to be honest here? I can lie to you and say, well, he played a great game, which he did. Mm-hmm. And, man, this thing is going the way they want it to. He's changing the offense. They're scoring more points. When that happens, what was his name again?
Will.
When that happens, then you can tweet at me or direct message me, and I will answer, and you will be absolutely right. But as we sit, this team averaged 17.5 points per game last year. They averaged 17.6 game this year. This team is at the bottom half of the NFL in passing. They were in the bottom half of the NFL in passing last year. Where have they gotten better in the passing game? They haven't. What they have got, what's going on here? And listen, it happened to me toward the end of my career. It happens to a lot of really good receivers or players. You may catch passes within the scheme, but it doesn't do anything to generate points for the offense. When D-Hop has plays that lead to scoring drives, have I not said those are meaningful catches? Mm-hmm. I've said that. Those are meaningful catches. When he catches a 5-yarder or a 3-yarder here, every receiver can do that. Mm-hmm. D-Hop is one of the best, and I've said this over and over again. He's one of the best. There was only 2 guys that I thought caught the ball better than him, and that was Fitzgerald and Chris Carter. Those were the only 2 guys that I believe caught the ball better than him, and that's including myself. Only 2 guys. So when I talk about D-Hop, I'm talking about him now as a player. Will, has the offense changed any passing-wise? You can text us and answer that question for me. It hasn't. It just hasn't. This offense, teams don't fear. If Derrick Henry is not running the football, and Willy brought up this stat a long time ago, I think it was at the beginning of the year or whatnot, is that they are one of the best play-action teams in the National Football League.
Oh, yeah.
When they can get that running game going, they can get those guys, whether it's D-Hop, Chris Moore, all of them. They can get those guys. Nick Westbrook-Akine, they can get those guys going.
That's this team's bread and butter.
But when they become just a drop-back team, they don't have I don't know if they have enough to consistently be a good passing team if they're not play-actioning. Mm-hmm. That's why it's very difficult at times when the run game's not going throughout the game, that when they just try to become a drop-back team, it doesn't work out well for them. Why? Because people are going to give up. A lot of teams are taught, if you don't have those lockdown corners or that really good secondary, which Indianapolis doesn't, they're taught bend but don't break. Once we get in the red zone, then we're going to lock down. That's where we're going to make our money, inside the red zone. And they did. The Titans were 1 for 4 in the red zone. But out in the field, in today's game, as I'm watching it, it's hard to stop anybody. Anybody. I'm looking at the L.A. Rams yesterday, and people, they're high on Puka now.
Puka Nacua.
Nacua. I sat back and I watched, they showed a few aerial views. And I'm thinking, this kid's not doing anything special. It's just the offense and the way the league is. You can't touch anybody down the field. You can't hit anybody down the field until they take 5 steps, and then you can make the tackle. So the league is built on passing the football. So when you say somebody is good, I go back and I watch the film being a former receiver, and I'm like, it's not what they're really telling us. They're just giving us half of the story. In regards, again, to D-Hop, he is the guy. He needs a Treylon Burks to show up. He does. Because why? Because now it takes the pressure off of him to be, he's not your downfield guy. I even said this at the beginning of the year. I said, listen, D-Hop, prior to this game, what was D-Hop? The 4-yarder, the 5-yarder, the 7-yarder, and maybe every once in a while he'd catch a 15-yarder.
And you need guys like that.
Exactly.
They're better off with him than without him.
Reliable
But
red
he's
zone
not.
guys
He's
who
not
can-
elevating to the level he was 5 years ago.
And that's all. That's all I'm saying is this: he doesn't elevate this passing game for whatever reason. He doesn't elevate it the way that I think Will wants it or may perceive it to be. Just because you catch 8 passes doesn't mean that you're affecting what the defense is doing or you're putting up points. The Titans scored, 16 points?
They scored 16 points.
16 points. He had 140 yards. Okay?
And he played well.
And he played well. And he played well. But they will give up that 140 yards as long as Derrick Henry doesn't have 100 yards himself. If Derrick Henry has 100 yards, now that 140 yards look a little bit different.
Well, and to your point in the red zone, we heard that clip from Mike Vrabel coming back from break of, you got to take what the defense gives you. And I don't know how many times they're going to leave DeAndre Hopkins wide open in the red zone.
No, they're not.
Look, DeAndre Hopkins can get you between the 20s. But in the red zone, how much can he really help you? So when that's where the run game comes in. That's where you need to have other guys like Nick Westbrook-Akine and Chris Moore and Treylon Burks involved, of other certified red zone passing weapons.
I'm looking at the pattern here. Last year with Arizona, people talked about how many passes he caught, and they were right. Again, he's going to catch just about anything you throw to him, especially if he's just sitting there.
A great catch on the sideline.
He's going to catch. But even in Arizona, how many of those catches were impactful catches? How many of those catches led to touchdowns or led to just points in general? That's what you got to start looking at. That's why they covet these guys that can get down the field. If you have a guy like Hop, you need another guy. You need a guy that can just flat out run and that can open up space. But right now, they don't have that guy. They hope Treylon Burks can be that guy. I still hope he can be that guy. For some reason he hadn't shown up, but they need that guy to offset what D-Hop does, because D-Hop isn't, or he hasn't, let's put it this way, he hasn't, Will, you don't think I'm hating, he hasn't up until this point. He hasn't been that down the field threat consistently. No team is going into the game saying we got to take away D-Hop downfield. They're not saying that. What they're saying is, listen, he's going to get his catches. We got to worry about 22 in the backfield. We got to put an extra guy in the box in the backfield, because that's the one guy we do not want wrecking this game. Because once he starts, everybody else eats, i.e. last week.
Yeah.
When Derrick Henry gets to going, or that run game, let's just say that run game gets to going, because Tajay's a big part of it now, I think. Once that run game gets to going, everybody else eats. When that run game's not going, only a few people eat. And D-Hop was a byproduct of that yesterday. The run game's not going, everybody's not eating. Only one guy is eating. When the run game's going, Chris Moore is eating, Nick Westbrook-Akine is eating, D-Hop's eating, Chig, Westcoat, Wiley, they're all eating. Why? Because he opens up what we can do in a pass game.
And because the threat of Derrick Henry
Exactly.
is almost just as menacing as Derrick Henry himself.
Absolutely.
We got guys stacking the box. Well, that leaves Chris Moore wide open downfield for those big explosive plays.
And he's more stoppable than he used to be, Henry.
He's more stoppable than he used to be. Again,
still capable. Still
Derrick
capable.
Henry, Derrick Henry before this season, and a part of last season too, he was a guy that can win you games.
Yeah, he's
flat
still
out
capable of that.
Win you games a lot. This Derrick Henry, he can win you a few games, but you can't ride him the way you've been riding him. You just can't.
That's a question going forward for this team, is what to do about that.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let's chat with TD. I want to get Teron Davenport's thoughts on the Titans' loss in Indianapolis yesterday. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 1025-1063 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Actor portrayal based on a real patient experience.
I'm Mike. I'm a husband, proud father of 2, work my butt off 6 days a week, some nights too. When my family or my company needs me to make it happen, I make it happen. But a few months ago, I started having trouble making it happen, in the bedroom. I tried some pills online, but they didn't work. Honestly, I thought about throwing in the towel on my sex life, but I'm not that old. I still want to enjoy intimacy with my wife. Like that poet said, I don't want to just go gently into that good night. So I went to the Tennessee Men's Clinic in Franklin. Got some lab work done, was prescribed some meds, and wow, it made it happen. I can't say enough about them. Their providers took care of me, followed up, and made sure I had a treatment plan that actually works. It's awesome. If I were you, and you're like me, I'd give them a call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. If you're like most guys, they'll make it happen for you too.
Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? Look no further than Big Play Hendersonville. Get ready to embark on an adventure like no other. Whether you're a kid or a kid at heart, Big Play Hendersonville has something for everyone. And right now, you can get half off a $50 gift card to check out all they have to offer, from bowling to laser tag, indoor go-karts, bumper cars, and more. They offer fantastic food options as well. Big Play isn't just a place, it's an experience. Get half off now at the game Nashville.com/deals.
Now, your Game Center update.
This Game Center update is brought to you by Gary Force Acura, proud sponsor of your Nashville Predators. This is Nick Frazier with your Game Center update. Yesterday, the Tennessee Titans lost 23-16 to the Indianapolis Colts. Titans standout wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins recorded a season high of 8 receptions and 140 yards. Hopkins spoke to the media after yesterday's loss.
It's early in the season. I don't think anybody in this locker room and this staff is going to throw the towel in. So a lot of good things to build off of, and a lot of things that didn't go our way that we can work on. And I'm sure we're going to come back to work this week and work on those things.
Tune in tomorrow as the Nashville Predators open up their season on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Puck drop is set for 4:30 p.m. You can listen to the game right here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 1025 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
79-52 Vanderbilt.
And I think he's got a coach up by Cheryl.
You're going to see more moves.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Covering your teams and the news of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen,
this is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase.
Who is pleasant to listen to.
With Caroline Fenton, Willy Donick, and former NFL wide receiver Derek Mason.
You are hands down my favorite radio personalities of all time.
On 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
With no further ado,
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase, 102.5, 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. We are live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Game Studios, and we are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook Live every single day. The Tennessee Titans fall to the Indianapolis Colts 23-16 in Indianapolis yesterday, and TD was there. Teron Davenport joins us now. TD, it feels to me, and I want to get your thoughts on this, your feeling on this. It feels to me that yesterday the Titans just didn't play with an identity. That the Colts beat the Titans the way that the Titans have won so many games. Running the football, stopping the run, and just being tough at the line of scrimmage. What did you see there with the Titans in terms of their identity and what they wanted to do?
Yeah, that's really the problem. And the Colts played their game, and they played it a little bit differently. Like, they ran the ball differently, but essentially the whole concept of just being able to run another team over, that's what happened. And it was bad, and you could tell this team, they missed Tierre Tart yesterday. I think that was the big thing, because a lot of those runs were right on the interior. Guys were getting blocked up, and they weren't able to shed, and then linebackers, you had the guards go up to the linebackers on that long run, and they were able to, move them out the way. And I think that's a good example of why a quarterback that runs the ball really well helps the rushing attack, because that's why Byard wasn't there to, plug it up, after
Moss got past the linebacker. So there's a lot of things. They just didn't play well on defense, and obviously offensively, you want to see them run the football a little bit more and with more success. But it's just one of those things where nothing came together for them.
TD Tron Davenport is with us. TD, I have a really hard time saying that the Titans are a good home team and a bad road team, because I think that there were several more factors there to, explain why they lost to Cleveland. Just a really good defensive front. You throw 3 interceptions in New Orleans. You're going to lose games like that. 0-3 on the road, 2-0 at home. What other explanation is there for that?
Well, I think it's just they're not playing well, and we just went over how they got away from their identity yesterday, and I think you mentioned the problems in the other 2 games. So I think it really just comes down to they have to figure out a way to put it all together, and not just at Nissan Stadium. And I don't know that being on the road has that much of a factor, but it's not happening for them.
We'll talk with Teron Davenport discussing the Titans' 23-16 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. Now, TD, I heard the interview with Fulton after the game, and I'm sure if Vrabel listened to it, that's probably something he doesn't like, the excuse making. What do you think is going to happen in this situation?
Well, that's the big thing that I'm curious about. I personally think you keep putting him out there and let him try to play through it. But at the same time, you look at what Coach Vrabel said today about the confidence he has in the guys when asked about the depth, the DBs behind him. I think there's a reduced role. Now, Fulton played 58 snaps yesterday, and everyone else played 61, the other starters in the secondary. So you did see him come out for a bit. I wonder if that number gets shortened and you do see Trey Avery or Kendall Vildor mixed in, or if they go a different nickel look with Elijah Molden as the nickel and bump Roger McCreary outside. I personally would not do that because I think McCreary is a very strong player at nickel, when they want to blitz him, also against the run. So I think it's going to be, I don't think they bench him, but I think there's going to be, opportunities for Trey Avery to probably, or someone else, some other look to play into a little more opportunities.
Now, as much as, Tier Tart's my favorite player. That man, that young man plays his heart out. It seems like every time he's out there. But I don't want to believe that losing him, not having him, was that big of a problem. But was that the problem, not having Tier Tart in the game?
I think it was a part of it, because a part of that, setting a wall, that's what he does. He's a guy, or creating a wall. That's what he does. As far as you look how many times we've seen the swim move and he gets a tackle for a loss, and it's right on similar runs to where Zach Moss was able to excel, So I think that is something, but at the same time, the tackling wasn't good. And then also there were times, look, man, Jeffrey Simmons is an outstanding player, but on that run, he got moved out of the way also. So it just was collectively that they struggled. But I think, having a guy like Tart, 320 pounds or whatever he is, agile and has a swim move that we mentioned, I think that does help the run defense, and they definitely missed him. And it with a guy like that, it makes it harder for the guards, right, to get up to the linebackers, So that's something else to think about.
Now, do you think that was with the, Richardson getting hurt, even though I thought, Richardson was playing well and that offense was, moving the ball the way they wanted to at times. But do you think that once Minshew came in, that sort of threw the Titans defense off a little bit, because you're game planning for sort of this three-headed monster with the quarterback being, a pivotal part in what they're doing from a run standpoint. But then you go from that to a guy that can run a little bit, but he's more of a drop-back guy.
Yeah, I think they just continued to run the football well. That was the main thing. And, Gardner Minshew is like this folk hero that he doesn't have to do anything. And people will say he played an outstanding game and he's the reason why they won. And I don't get it. I mean, he made a couple plays yesterday. He did, but they ran the football. And I think, things for the most part remain the same. I will say this, it almost got easier to defend the run because now you don't have to worry about the quarterback pulling it and running 60 yards, which is what Anthony Richardson could do. So that's how I look at it. I don't think it really changed much. I think they still, were able to play the defense that they needed to play, but you just didn't have to have true 11-on-11 football like you do when Richardson is on the field.
Talking to Teron Davenport. Teron, we just did our sort of breakdown Monday morning quarterback on the 4th and 1 and what happened on the play. I'm curious what you saw and maybe what you got from the guys in the locker room. It's starting with the fact that, they were sure they were going to go for it, but it did look like they checked, and then they had a couple guys in motion. It looked a little bit it looked like there was a little bit of discomfort before they ever snapped the ball. So what did you see?
Yeah, well, see, for me, looking at that and knowing where that play was going and seeing where DeForest Buckner was, I probably would have either caught, I had to switch it up, and it's always easy for me to sit right here and say that, but I'm not sure I'll run at Buckner in that situation, so.
And do you think he checked into that and then realized after, I just checked into a run at Buckner and Buckner on Hubbard?
I don't know that he checked into that. I would be surprised if he did. I think that was probably the play call, and it's one of those ones where you get it. A lot of people question running out of the shotgun, but again, Derrick Henry is a guy that you like to get an opportunity to get some steam going towards the line of scrimmage, and it just Buckner he blew it up, right? He won against his man, and he was able to be there to tackle. And you had Zaire Franklin just coming in over top, and I wonder if they get a block on Buckner, if Franklin will be able to take on Henry and take him down. I think Henry probably, has a collision, and how he falls forward, and it's a first down, and this conversation is a little bit different.
Teron, it was hard to not notice when Mike Vrabel today was asked about Tajay Spears, how glowingly he spoke about him, the person, the detail, the little things that he's seeing beyond the things that are easy for us to see, the make people miss that we talked a lot about last week. I'm very curious big picture, not necessarily about because it went a certain way yesterday, but it reminds me a lot of an up-and-coming UC Saros, an aging Pekka Rinne, right? You cannot – Derrick Henry and Pekka Rinne, I think, are very similar in what they mean to a franchise. Like if they told me in 10 years they're going to put a statue of Derrick Henry, I would applaud. I would say absolutely, he deserves it, all of that. That's kind of what we're talking about here. But you've got a fast-rising Tajay Spears that it's clear in this offense where they need explosion, he gives them a chance there. Balancing that over the next several weeks, I think, is going to be an interesting challenge for everybody in there.
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting challenge. You heard what Mike Vrabel said about, we got to find more ways to get him the ball, get him touches. So it's clear they want him to have opportunities, and you've seen modifications of the offense, right? You look, you have that, that reverse that they ran or end around, whatever you want to call it. They had that yesterday, but then you look at going into the Chargers game, or not the Chargers game, the week 4.
The Bengals.
For the Bengals game, you had that where you saw him on that cheat motion, right? And so that's another way to try to get him in position. And I'm telling you, that's going to lead to a big play at some point. They're going to hit one on that. And that's another example of just how they're starting to get him the ball. You look at the snaps yesterday, it was 34 for Henry, 31 for Spears. They're on the field at the same time a lot, and we haven't really seen that as much. And, this is what I would imagine they envisioned when they selected him, and that they didn't select a running back. They selected what they look at as a weapon.
I think, to me, the challenging part, if I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of the coaching staff, of Tim Kelly, of even Mike Vrabel, the delicate part, because it's only going to get more – as long as Spears stays on the field and is for real, which I think he is, I watched it happen over time with Rinne and Saros. And it was tough for John Hines to say, you know what, Saros is now past Rinne. I got to start going the key games with him and not Rinne. So I wonder, it's a very delicate thing because of what Henry means to the franchise. So I wonder about that layer to it as it evolves, if it evolves this way. I think we're all hoping that Spears can continue to develop because they desperately need what he can give them.
Yeah, I think it's going to continue to evolve, and it's going to be one of those things where it changes from game to game. You look at the Bengals game, he ran the ball 25 times. So there's going to be times where they got to rely on Henry, especially like a game where they either have a lead or they're driving to take the lead late in the fourth quarter. You want to salt the clock away, but also drive. I think that's where he comes into play. But the thing is, some of the things that Rabel had mentioned when he talked about Tajay coming up and taking on the blocks and those type of things, those are the things that are valuable for a guy getting on the field on third down. And we know he could catch the ball as well. So it's going to be just a week-to-week thing, man. I think even like situation to situation.
Teron Davenport is with us. TD, we spent pretty much a good bit of last week talking about how good and reliable Nick Westbrook-Akine and Chris Moore have been in the passing game. Both of them, really, for the most part, non-factors. What is that? Is that a Tim Kelly play design thing? Is that those guys just couldn't get open? Why do you think they were, targeted so few or so little yesterday against the Colts?
Well, I think Hopkins, he was dominating.
He was cooking.
That's really what it boils down to. There were a few opportunities. I remember Westbrook-Akine had one catch and they kind of flipped him over. He caught one across the middle. But yeah, the targets were a little more limited for them. But like I said, when you have a guy that's steadily getting open the way Hopkins was, I mean, Juju Brents and the other corner, like they couldn't cover him. They couldn't. And then that one catch he made along the sideline, where he was running down there and he was looking for it, just kind of, and he had to turn and keep his eye on the ball and then go up and catch it and then get both feet down. I mean, that was an outstanding catch.
Yeah.
So he was in his bag yesterday, and he showed that he still has that top-level receiver ability, and it was good to see. It's unfortunate they lost because I had some things set up to finally be able to write about Hopkins, and it didn't happen.
TD is with us. TD 2-3 on the season, now 0-1 in the division. A whole lot of football left to be played, but not the most encouraging performance, especially defensively on Sunday. Where do the Titans go from here? If you can look at, from now until Sunday when you're in London, what do you think is the number one focus or should be the number one focus of this football team?
Yeah, I think the focus is to just be consistent at what they do well, They run the football well, be consistent with that. They play action well, be consistent with that. They defend the run well, so be consistent with that. And they have to figure out a way to stop allowing the explosives in the passing game, and that's something that just continues to rear its ugly head with that defense. So they got to get those things done. They have to start generating some turnovers too. So that's important as well.
Now, do you expect, TD, to see Nicholas back in the lineup, or do you think they wait until after the London game? And do you know anything else on Traylon? Do you expect him to play this week?
Yeah. I think after the London game will probably be a series or two, for Nicholas Petit-Ferrer. This way you're getting him gradually acclimated. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it in the London game, honestly. But I think for sure after that bye week, Mike Vrabel had mentioned how he has to, earn his way back in, and he hadn't played football in some time. And the last time he played, he wasn't playing that well in the preseason. So those are all things you got to factor in. As far as Burks is concerned, Vrabel said that he hopes to see him out there moving around, which is a good thing. And it's just going to be – I think that he just needed to be offered. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that was the main thing. But, it's interesting because if they do bring him back, I'm sure you guys heard, Teron Johnson and Matt Milano, the guys got hurt at that Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, which is where the Titans are going to be playing. And Teron Johnson has said that he felt the surface had a lot to do with it. So I say all that to say, got to be careful getting Burks back out there if, there are complaints about this playing surface. I asked Vrabel about it, and he said they've done research and actually talked to both teams. So we'll see what happens and if that factors into Burks getting back out there.
Well, they're gonna need him back out there, as well as those other guys continuing to play well. Hop and Chig is another guy that he had a few catches yesterday, but he still hasn't given this coaching staff that game that they've been looking for. Do you expect to see that from him soon?
It's going to be tough this week because I know the Ravens, with Roquan Smith, he's a good player if they want to, man up or anything like that. At some point, you're going to have to see it. It has to break through. I don't know, man. It's been, as Mike Vrabel said, he's been inconsistent, and that's something that has to be fixed because he's a guy that was expected to be a big part of the offense.
TD, appreciate you as always. Thanks for stopping by, and safe travels across the pond this weekend.
All right, thanks a lot. I'm actually not taking the trip, man. Only our Ravens reporter is going. I'm going to be watching from the couch, man.
All right, well, enjoy your weekend at home. That sounds pretty nice, too.
Yeah, all right.
You're like, I would rather go.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
I'd rather be there. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hate missing games. So, okay, appreciate you.
Thanks, TD. Appreciate it. I think, when I asked TD about, where does this team go from here, it does feel as simple as get back to what you do best. Play action, run the football, play good defense, be tough at the line of scrimmage. But also, at what point is it just, why are you getting away from the identity in the first place? Is it as easy to just say, hey, play to your identity? Because if it was that easy, everyone would be doing that.
Well, are we talking on offense or overall? Because
I think overall.
Because either way, like the identity, like you said, they averaged 17 points, 17.5 points a game last year, and they're averaging 17.6 this year. So the identity, you're trying to grow the identity, right, to some point. And I think the other part of yesterday was they thought they had a defense that was a big part of it. That was not the Titans' defense, at least what it needs to be part of the winning identity.
I think
they got beat.
Yeah, they got
physically got beat.
Yeah.
They got beat at what they do best, and what they usually are doing to teams, running the ball down teams' throat, eating up clock, eating up time, these long drives. Well, that is what the Titans are used to doing. They very seldom do they have that done on them. They've only had in the last 2 years 200-yard rushers. Two. Saquon Barkley and the kid Robinson, I believe. Was it for Jacksonville? It was for one of the teams. But I wrote it down. I got it here somewhere. But, yeah, he had 18 carries, Jay Robinson for Jacksonville. He had 18 carries, 141 yards, a touchdown. Then Saquon Barkley last season, first game of the season, 18 carries, 164 yards and a touchdown. So what they do to people usually is what got done to them last night. And if they can't, hopefully that's just a blip on the screen for the Titans. Because usually, I'm more so leaning to a blip on the screen because over the last 2 or 3 years, that hasn't been the case. But this team, their identity is what it is. They're a run team, play hard-nosed defense.
That doesn't work when you can't run the football and you don't play hard
I think
defense.
it's hard to switch midstream on who you are as a team. It's hard to then say, we need to become something totally different. Why? Because you got the people for the identity that you already created. You don't have the people for the identity you want to create.
You're not all of a sudden going to play Golden State Warriors football.
Absolutely.
You're not going to completely change what you want to do.
To me, this week is a critical week for the Titans. Not from the standpoint of winning and losing, because it's a long season.
Yeah.
But I think from the standpoint of getting back and consistently being who they are as a team, which is playing really good defense up front, making it a little bit easier for those guys on the back end. And that shouldn't be there. Like, they shouldn't have – you should be good on your own in the back end. But as it be, if the defensive line's playing well, the secondary is typically playing well. They need to stick to that and run the football. if they do that and still ends up not winning the game, we got to feel good about what they are, who they are as a team. Mm-hmm. But if they go over to London, and none of that happens and they lose, yeah, we got a big problem.
It's almost like I can't blame you for losing because you're not doing what you do best.
Exactly.
And whether that's being taken away from you or whether you're not giving your team the best chance to win. Mm-hmm. If you cannot run the football and play hard-nosed defense, you're not going to win very many games.
No.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. What I want to get into coming up next, vibe check. 2-3, 0-1 in the division. How are we feeling? How have our expectations changed for this team? We'll get into that coming up next. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. We are brought to you by Zen Sports. On to bed.
Coming on in Forsberg. It's Pete Weber. Tuesday night, the regular season gets underway as the Predators head to Tampa to take on the Lightning. Join Max Urs, Hal Gill, and me starting at 3:30.
Your home for Smashville is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Caroline Fenton here for my friends over at Black Tie Moving. And when you choose Black Tie Moving, you are going to get a highly awarded Inc. 500 company. So I moved with Black Tie over the summer, and I can tell you from personal experience that it was the easiest, most stress-free, most seamless moving experience that I have ever had. I have moved 7 times in the last 8 years. Okay, I've done some moving. I've been through the ringer with some moving companies, but everything with Black Tie Moving was organized. They were so respectful. They were so kind. They took such great care of all of my furniture, of all of my belongings, took such great care of the place that I was moving into, had so much respect for me and my family members that were helping me move. I truly cannot recommend them enough. They've got trained and a dedicated team that is there to ensure that they take the stress out of the process. I can attest to that. I kicked my feet up on the day of my moving day, and Black Tie Moving took care of all of the dirty work. So visit blacktiemoving.com or call 615-437-8401. That is 615-437-8401. Be sure to mention the promo code GAME, G-A-M-E, to score 10% off of your next move. And then sit back and enjoy the best move of your life with Black Tie Moving.
Attention all fire protection, commercial plumbing, and HVAC experts. Jarrett Companies are looking for experienced field technicians like you. Tired of working for your large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett's Fire Protection, commercial plumbing, and HVAC divisions are owned and operated by Nashville natives who want you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we'll also provide you with top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and our business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to JarrettCompaniesInc.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT CompaniesInc.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
There are ordinary hotels, and there's the Four Seasons. There are ordinary cars, and there's the Rolls-Royce. There are ordinary handbags, and there's Gucci. There are ordinary engagement rings, and there's Genesis. A Genesis diamond ring is unlike any other. Artistic, innovative design, handcrafted precision, exceptional detail and quality. This is why people who work at other jewelers come to Genesis for their rings. A Genesis ring is considered the gold standard in bridal, with no compromises, no cut corners, nothing short of perfection. We have the look, the style every woman dreams about. At Genesis, you'll find dozens of exclusive world-class bridal designers who are revered for their attention to detail, exceptional vision, and superior craftsmanship. A Genesis ring rises to the occasion, reflecting her style, her unique personality, her confidence, her individuality. In a world filled with ordinary, for this moment, choose extraordinary. Choose Genesis. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
Willy Donick here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The official brand perception report for doors and windows is in. Pella Windows and Doors are the leading brand among all others. A few reasons why. Pella is regarded as the highest quality, the most innovative, and the installers with Pella of Nashville lead the way for attention to detail. That's why Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville is one of Pella's top locations in the country. For new doors or windows, I suggest you choose the experts at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. Go to PellaNashville.com.
It's football season, and with a game every week, there's no better time to make the switch to Zen Sports. When you sign up to Zen Sports with code D-Mason, that's D-M-A-S-O-N, you will earn a welcome bonus that gives you 5% cash back on your total betting volume for your first 15 days of betting. Download today on the App Store or at zensports.com. Gambling problems, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 years or older to bet here in Tennessee.
Do reward. Just desserts. Special day. Payoff. Just because. Whatever your reasons, it's time to visit the spa.
Mokara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel, now offering outdoor yoga 9 a.m. every Saturday through September 2nd on the spa terrace. Book any treatment and get complimentary valet parking and access to the rooftop pool with incredible views of the Music City skyline. Mokara Spa at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Inner Zen, outer beauty.
Vanderbilt football lives here.
This Saturday, it's Vanderbilt and Georgia from First Bank Stadium. Kickoff at 11 a.m. Coverage starts at 9:30.
Your home for the Commodores is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Eli Gold, voice of the Alabama Crimson Tide, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Some of the issues have been pretty consistent in the losses.
You usually are. That's why you lose, right? That's, so if you don't score in the red zone and you don't stop the run and you don't get off on third down, you're probably going to lose. I'm not trying to be funny by any means, but that's what happens, and makes it really hard to win.
That was Mike Vrabel, and obviously very irritated Mike Vrabel, and I don't blame him for feeling irritated when I think we all feel the same way. Titans fans probably feel the same way. It feels like with this team, it's a bait and switch. Like I got whiplash trying to really put my finger on what this team is. You turn the ball over 3 times against the Saints. You turn around and beat a solid Chargers team in overtime. Then you turn around, you can't score a touchdown on the road to Cleveland. Tannehill gets absolutely, just destroyed by Myles Garrett. Then you turn around and dominate the Cincinnati Bengals. You feel good, then you feel not so good, then you feel good, then you feel not so good, and you turn around and get beat at what you do best by a divisional rival in Indianapolis. So that's kind of what I want to get it to now, is just kind of the vibe check of where we are right now. And that's a question also for the callers, texters, and listeners. Mm-hmm. Where are you at with this team, of what this team can do? And how much has that changed from July, from August, now that we're 5 games into the season?
Well, I mean, we still have, 12 games to go, somewhere around there?
12 games to go?
Yeah, 12 games to go. So, you don't want to be, sort of a pessimist here because there's so many games left. Now, if we were halfway in the season and this stuff continued, then it was like, okay, I don't know if things are going to change. But we all know how the NFL is. Things can change in a blink of an eye. And it can be because of injuries. It can be because, for whatever reason, things are just clicking now. But I think this is a team, and we've sort of said this. We've echoed this sentiment. I know you two have, and I have. This team is an average team. It is. And, they have to play, I'm not going to say flawless football, but they got to play damn near flawless football in order to, win games. Just look at their victories. Look at all their victories this year, and even go back to last year. Look at their victories. I don't think there were many just flat-out games they won, other than, you can go back and look at the Cleveland game. But some of these other games, they've been nail-biters, and they've won those games. Why? Because they've been disciplined in what they were doing. They didn't turn the ball over. When they had opportunities to make plays, they made them. and guys did what they were supposed to do on defense. They were disciplined and not trying to do anyone else's job. Vrabel basically said it in his press conference. Listen, this team, if it calls for you to be here, you need to be there. Don't try to be somewhere else. He's not going to say we're not good enough to, if we do that, we're not good enough to make up. But he's saying, listen, we may not have the horses that some other teams have. So we can't afford to get out of alignment, to have false starts, to drop passes, to miss open guys. We can't do that. We're not equipped to do that at this particular time. If they play damn near flawless football, which is hard to do, at least they give themselves an opportunity to win. When they
think
don't,
about what you're saying, though.
They don't give themselves an opportunity to win.
But think about what you're saying. We have to play flawless football.
Or damn near
to be successful. That is just not going to happen
I know.
in this league. They don't have the horses. They are a team that has to overachieve. They don't have a margin for error.
Mm-hmm.
I said 9-8 when we made predictions. You guys went a little higher. You guys were more optimistic.
I think I said 12.
They look like.
Well, you know what they say: can't go 12-5.
Yeah,
let's go 2-3.
11-6, right?
D-Mase said 11-6.
Oh,
D-Mase said 11-6.
Okay.
Caroline said 10-7.
Okay.
I said 9-8. They look like a 500 team. And look, like you said, there's a long way to go, but they have not really been decimated with injuries. They've had some tough breaks, but everybody's got people that are hurt a certain amount. You never have your full lineup.
Right.
I don't know if this team can string together 4 or 5 in a row somewhere in here to extend out. I think every week is going to be like this. They don't have a gifted roster that can overcome some mistakes. So you hear the checklist from Mike Vrabel. Got to be great on third down. Got to get turnovers. Got to do well in the red zone. The margin for error for them, they have to do all those things. They can't just have 2 out of 3 a lot of times. And they couldn't do it against the Colts, right? You think they have to be perfect against the Colts? They really have to be perfect when they play the high-end teams in the league, right? They don't look like they have anybody who elevates them, not even Derrick Henry anymore. Jeffrey Simmons is the closest thing that they've got. But I just think they're limited in what they can do.
And how many teams in the league, though, can afford to not be good in the red zone and can afford to not consistently be in third and manageable situations? Like, I understand teams that have a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes feel a lot more confident at third
that's
and
who
12.
You have to beat, ultimately. And there's a lot of them in the AFC.
Yeah, there are. But when he says, we have to take care of the football, got to force turnovers, got to, convert in the red zone, I think I could say that about close to, 32 teams in the league. It's just the difference of, how much confidence do you have in your quarterback being able to carry the team? How much confidence do you have in this offense being able to put up points? Because at this point, we know that the Titans have the ability to put up points. We know that the Titans have the ability to play clean football. We know that the offensive line has the ability to, create holes in the run game and to protect Ryan Tannehill. It's just things not coming together at the same time. And that inconsistency and that back and forth and putting things together at different times. One day the offense looks good, one day the defense looks good. I would agree, Willie, that is a 500 team.
They're in the middle. And in this league, in the salary cap, every year there's probably a group of 10 to 12 to 15 teams that are somewhere in that 8-9, 9-8 kind of range. Let's take the Saints, right? They're 3-2. The Rams, 2-3. I mean, you can go down this whole list. There's a ton of teams right now that are either 3-2 or 2-3. I just see that being what the Titans are.
But here's the thing: when you're looking at the Titans, because you're right, Caroline. Every team. Let's just stick with the AFC. Every team in the AFC can say basically what Mike Vrabel said. We need to be, we need to win third downs on both sides of the ball. We need to score in the red zone. We need to get turnovers. I think every team in the NFL can say that, or at least, they think that. They may not say it all the time, but they think it, because it's essentially, they say it's coach speak. But I think when you're talking about certain teams, let's just say quickly, and I'm going to go through these quickly. Buffalo, even though I don't think Josh Allen is elite, I think he's a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's in the elite status just yet. But I think Buffalo feels that, okay, if we don't score now in the red zone, we have the quarterback and the receiver that eventually we're going to be able to do it. They've shown that we're going to be able to do it. Miami, we may get 5 chances in the red zone. If we don't get one of them, we know we got the talent to at least get the next couple. Or if not, we have the capability to score from outside.
They're going to overwhelm you. They can overwhelm you on a certain
We
week.
can score from outside the red zone. The Baltimore Ravens feel the same way. Yeah, but we have the quarterback that can get us a touchdown running or throwing a football. We know what Cincinnati is, okay? And then you look at Kansas City, same thing. Even the Chargers, they feel if they don't capitalize once or twice, it's not the end of the world because we believe we have the quarterback and the receivers to get
They
in the
screw
end
a
zone
lot of stuff up
eventually.
and still talent
Exactly.
their way
That's what I'm saying. We
into
can
some stuff.
And
we can
sometimes even the
afford
talent isn't enough for the Chargers.
for the Chargers. It's
Right,
just,
right.
They just
Because they
charge it
screw so
themselves.
much stuff up.
Right.
But the Titans, now that Derrick Henry can't win you every game. He can win you some games, like I said, but he can't win you every game. Now that Derrick Henry can't win you every game, now that you don't have that A.J. Brown, like that flat-out guy that can beat you underneath, but then also can beat you over the top because Traylon's hurt. You don't have those guys. So when you get an opportunity inside the red zone, you can't blunder a chance away because I can't, like the Kansas City Chiefs or the Buffalo Bills or the Miami Dolphins or the L.A. Chargers. They can say, well, hey, listen, we wanted to score that time down. We should have scored, but hey, we have the belief in our offense that they're going to get right back down there again, and we're going to have another chance to score. Do we truly believe that in the Tennessee Titans? Like, if they miss an opportunity, or we think, oh, they're going to get back down there again.
Well, let's go back to yesterday. They had an opportunity. They went for it on 4th and 1, didn't get it. Again, I don't disagree with the decision to go for it. The Colts get the ball back. The Colts shoot themselves in the foot, get an offensive pass interference. They're back up into 3rd and 12. And I'm thinking this is the perfect opportunity for the Titans. Get a stop, stop them short of 12 yards, and then you get the ball back. And you can maybe, get into the end zone and give yourself another opportunity. But then that opportunity was just kissed away by Christian Fulton. He cannot keep his hands to himself. So that's what I think it really comes down to for the Titans.
That's the mistakes.
You have to take the opportunities when you get them. The Derrick Henry overthrow to DeAndre Hopkins. And look, I don't blame anyone. I thought it was a good play call. Derrick Henry's not a quarterback. He's not going to deliver a perfect pass. DeAndre Hopkins can only do so much.
He tried.
Can't point a finger at anyone.
Down.
But it was an opportunity that you missed.
And
Missed the
those,
4th and 1 opportunity.
You can't miss those.
You cannot miss the opportunities, and you cannot give opportunities. Christian Fulton gave the Colts 2 opportunities to score yesterday. That's giving too many opportunities. You can't turn the ball over. That was costly for the Titans against the Saints. You cannot give opportunities, and you can't afford to not capitalize on opportunities. Against the Bengals, they capitalized on so many offensive opportunities. They didn't give the Bengals opportunities, so on and so forth. So it sounds simple, but that's really what it comes down to for this team.
I would say the defense failed them yesterday. And I'm pretty sure the defense probably think like, man, especially the defensive front, I'm sure they have a lot of pride. So they probably put that game on them. But how long can you ask a defensive unit to carry you? Like, how long can you ask that? Again, this is a good front, but the back end doesn't match the front. So when they don't have a good game or a great game, the Titans typically get exposed in the back end.
But I think there's a difference between asking the defense to carry you and asking the defense to not give up 165 rushing yards to Zach Moss.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
But again, it's yes, we had a bad day, but in our bad day, you got to help us out every once in a while because damn it, we help y'all out just about every game. So the day we're not having the game we're not having a good day, then y'all need to help us out somehow, some way. And the back end didn't help them. nor did, the offense in the red zone help them because they were 1 for 4.
Mm-hmm.
In the back end, gave up big plays, i.e. voting. So, I mean, if the defense is not lights out, the defensive front is not lights out, the likelihood of Titans winning a game is slim.
1 for 4 in the red zone. Couldn't run the football. Couldn't stop the Indianapolis run. That's why you lost. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Let's wrap it up with some of your thoughts on the Titans' loss to the Indianapolis Colts. Caroline, Willy, D-Mase. Hey, join Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, and D-Mase at Teddy's Tavern, located across from the Bridgestone Arena Plaza this Sunday from 11:30 to 1:30 as they break down the Titans-Ravens game. Our NFL pregame show is presented by Parman Tractor and Equipment and The Beast Unleashed.
Are you always on the go? We've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad. It's Chase McKay.
Caroline, Willy, D-Mase.
Dominic Cavity.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, time to tell you about F&M Bank and all the ways that they can help you and your family. You hear me talking about these guys a lot. Yes, we have a lot of fun every Friday taking it to the bank, thanks to our friends at F&M Bank. Well, let's talk to business owners out there today. Owning your business is like having another member in your family. Success takes time, requires money, attention. All of you need the right tools to help it grow. F&M Bank will treat your business like family. No matter what your business goals, you'll reach them easier when you have a banking relationship that supports you and gives you the tools to conveniently manage your money coming in and going out, plus the expertise to make your business better. Bank your business at F&M Bank. They look at it like family. Decisions made locally from a bank where your business means more. Time to stop by one of their 20 locations, Midtown Nashville, downtown Franklin, 6 in Clarksville, and the newest branch in Hopkinsville, Kentucky. Chances are there's one right near you. Tell them I sent you and go to their website to find the nearest one. It's F&M Bank, banking made easy on purpose. MyFMBank.com is the website. That's MyFMBank.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Teddy's Tavern, downtown's newest bar with an old Nashville feel, is conveniently located across the street from Bridgestone Arena and just blocks away from the pedestrian bridge. Get a taste of the new brunch menu to fuel your Titans Day pride on game day. Pre-game specials from 9 a.m. till kickoff when the Titans play at home include 2-for-1 draft beers, mimosas, and Bloody Marys. Teddy's Tavern is where you want to be before every Titans home game, so come downtown early and meet me at Teddy's. Get ready to elevate your game day experience. Titans fans, it's all happening at Mimo Bar on Titans Terrace. Just a short walk from the bridge at First and Demumbrian. They've got your epic pregame and postgame covered. With their Italian classics and sensational cocktails, your senses will be on a joyride. And hey, listen to this. Everyone at the Titans Terrace gets a chance to bag a Gibson Guitars merch bundle, a $100 Mimo postgame gift card, or a weekend brunch for 2. So why wait? Mimo Bar, where Nashville's heritage meets Italian flavor. Get ready for #Blue Nighted Weekdays. With MTSU football, we're thrilled to announce that MTSU will be hosting not one, but 2 incredible games on Wednesday, October 4th against Jacksonville State, and Tuesday, October 10th against Louisiana Tech. And that's not all. Fans can snag 2 games for the price of 1. So gather your family and friends and secure your seats today inside Floyd Stadium. For more information, visit GoBlueRaiders.com. Let's go Blue!
Hi, this is Rudy Gatlin of the Gatlin Brothers. Larry, Steve, and I would like to invite you to join us for the 2nd annual Blood Assurance Celebrity Golf Tournament Monday, October 23rd at the beautiful Hermitage Golf Course. All proceeds benefit local high schools through the Blood Assurance Heroes Grant Fund. There are going to be a lot of great prizes, but one lucky player will win a trip for 2 to play golf in Ireland. To sign up and for more information, go to bloodassurance.org/celebrity-golf. Come on and join us.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
They combine hard-hitting journalism.
The Titans asked Kevin Byard to take a pay cut.
Strong-willed opinions.
There's hot takes and then there's like weird takes. Yeah. This is a weird take.
And sometimes some old man takes.
I'm excited about it. So do I gyrate embarrassingly?
To create the perfect morning show, they are Robbie and Rex Road. Mornings from 6 to 9. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. This is Caroline, Willy, and D-Mase on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Welcome.
Tomorrow, it is your chance to participate in Pred's Pick to Click. It's nice to be back. Feels nice to be able to read that Predators back in action tomorrow. If you correctly guess a Preds player that scores a goal in the Preds game tomorrow night, you will win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Predators home game. Participate with Robbie and Rex Road tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. Pick to Click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. List your home with TJ to get your home seen, heard, and sold. Got a bunch of thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, so unless you have thoughts,
let's go.
Let's get to the phones. I have been patiently waiting to hear from our dear friend.
How did it take us till 1:49?
Exactly. Where have you been, Indy Ben?
He's chimed in, I'm just now saying. Okay. Because I would like to kick us off with Indy Ben's first thought of the day, coming in hot right at 11 a.m. With yesterday's win, the entire Colts fan base would like to say, screw you, Jared Stillman.
Now, I will say that Jared is a huge Anthony Richardson supporter.
And I don't know what Jared did.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess he and Indy Ben go back and forth. But Indy Ben, he does support your quarterback in Richardson, so there you go.
He does love Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, he loves him from Richardson.
But Indy Ben continues to say, where did this narrative that the Colts defense is soft in terms of physicality come from? When Buckner and Stewart are in at defensive tackle, they're usually hard to run on and typically control the line of scrimmage, and you can't tell me Zaire Franklin is soft. If there's anything soft about their defense, it's the soft zone scheme that they run in the secondary, which I absolutely hate. Now, D-Mase, you watched the film last week.
Yeah, I watched the film, and that's what I saw. I saw guys not being able to get off blocks. I saw offenses running the ball on this team, and when you can't stop the run, then you're labeled as a soft defense. It's like this is what you do. The defensive front. You're supposed to be, this big defensive front to stop the run and make the team one-dimensional. But what I seen in film is that wasn't them. You can go back to all the teams that they played. They haven't been consistently stopping the run. Yesterday, it was one of those games, and every team has them, where they just completely, annihilated the Titans in regards to them trying to run the football. You probably had sort of a perfect storm. Not so good offensive line going up against a defensive line that was trying to prove themselves against a running game that many think is one of the best when things are going in the National Football League. What's got to sting Mike Vrabel and really all of the Titans nation. It's interesting to get the outside perspective because what we were saying all week, especially if you told me going in, Richardson is going to leave the game. They already were out without Shaq Leonard, without – I think that the Indy was a little more banged up than the Titans, being real.
Yeah.
And you can't beat them. And it wasn't because it was a fluky day or anything. You just got beat by a team that you're supposed to be better than. But the reality was what the line was on the game. Pretty even. It looked like an even game. And even though the Colts lost their quarterback, the Titans were not able to take advantage of that and win. That stings. That's the hard part is, losing in a blowout is hard.
I did not see a big difference in overall talent level, even with what the Colts were dealing with, and that stings.
Losing is never easy.
That
losing
exposes the Titans. They're limited.
But I think
they look like
yesterday.
They look like a team 23 in the power rankings. That's what they looked like yesterday.
Tyler Texan says some of us came in thinking that this team could at least compete for the division, but after that game, I think most people have lost hope. They're not good, and they're on the verge of pure apathy from the fans. We're going to stop caring as much because we're tired of getting any kind of consistency at all. You're going to see the majority right off the season.
And
now,
they could bounce back and play a great game Sunday.
Right.
But the problem is it takes that every week, right? And they look like a team that's going to finish 8-9 or 9-8, and not a team that's going to, jump to another level. Now, that's why we play the games. Teams surprise you, but that's what I'm concerned about right now, is that they just look limited in what their ceiling is.
And I don't think that you should write off the season through
No.
5 weeks. You're
Absolutely
2-3.
not.
No.
The Cincinnati Bengals started the season 2-3 last season, and they ended up in the AFC Championship game. Now, I understand you don't have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase on your team, and the Bengals do, but still, at 2-3, there's a lot to play for. I mean, yes, of course, you had a bad setback on Sunday in terms of the division. The division is still gettable. The season is still salvageable. I'm not going to throw my hands up and say that this team stinks and they should just punt on it, because everyone was saying that after the Browns game, and then you turn around and have a great game against the Bengals. But I understand that there's not a lot of confidence in this team with the way that they're losing games and the sheer lack of consistency that we don't really know what we're going to get every single week.
But they don't look like they're clearly more talented than the Colts or the Texans right now. That's a problem. And we talked about explosiveness. The Jaguars looked to me yesterday, ETN, Kirk, Ridley is everything that you said he was going to be, D-Mase. First picks overall on the defensive side of the ball. The Jaguars still aren't there yet, but they have they have talent on their roster. I don't know what Trevor Lawrence is doing half the time with the ball. He does not secure the ball like he should. Too loose with the ball. And last year he finally cut it down in the second half, and they started winning a lot. He's got scary talent, though. That's what worries me about where the division is headed right now.
Well, I mean, you said it. If you look at this division, do the Titans, and again, this division is not won or lost in the first 5 games, unless you play 5, you play 4 straight divisional games.
0-5 divisional games.
Yeah, 0-5, then okay, then we got a problem. But, they have 1 loss in the division. They're 2-3. They still have an opportunity, but in that opportunity, they have to find more playmakers, consistent playmakers, not just game here, game there. They got to find consistent playmakers, big play guys for this offense, because if they don't, then they're going to continue to go with this back and forth, in a way it looks like you said, Indy looks like a team that is getting better. The Texans look like a team that is getting better. And the Jaguars, we know what they are. They have the potential. And that leaves the Titans. Do they have enough playmakers to consistently win games? Well, in the first 5 weeks, the answer is no, not right now. But, again, it can change.
We talked about how the margin for error for the Titans isn't much. The Jaguars screwed up a lot of stuff yesterday.
But still was able to win.
Beat the Bills, and probably should have beat them even worse. That's where the Jags are going.
It's a scary position to be in, no doubt. That's going to do it for us today.